Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the first edition here to the Rongyi Cup Season 3, if not mistaken. But Rongyi Cup Group A. I'm of course just VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the home chats, and by my plushies. Oh, by myself for now. No plushies on this screen, pap. Yeah, I'll have to fix that. But welcome one and all to Rongyi Cup Season 3. Bearing in mind that the previous seasons were not actually in StarCraft 2, so this is the first season in StarCraft 2, and this is going to be us covering Group A. Now, I do apologize for us being a little bit inactive over the past couple of days. I did, of course, make everyone aware that unfortunately Rongyi Cup was going to be clashing with some IRL commitments. Specifically, I did have to give some medication to my bunnies, and had to look after them and look over them, and alas, I wasn't going to be able to cast the first 2 days of Rongyi Cup. So Group A and Group B of Rongyi Cup did conclude last night and the night before that. The past 2 days we are here to catch up with at least Group A, and we should be able to stream live at Group C and D. C and D should be live, A and B should be replays, and we should be able to cover the playoffs live as well. Big shit on that one, but we are going to be a little bit more available here over the weekend and during the evenings as well, so we should be able to catch up on all things StarCraft. If you're curious about Thunderfire, if you remember, we casted day 1 of Thunderfire live. Day 2 we have yet to cover. Most likely that'll be maybe the first week of February, maybe the second week of February, but coming into February we'll be able to catch up on those matches. Likewise, same with Pegasus Cup. We missed out on like 3 or 4 weeks of Pegasus Cup. Also going to be looking to catch up on that as well. But again, that should all be in February. There's going to be a lot of catching up on. But otherwise, we're going to be jumping into Rongyi Cup. For those that are curious, for those who don't know what this is a big online event. I say online event as an offline finals run and organized by SC Boy and the Chinese scene. I want to say $20,000 prize pool, massive prize pool. Best players in the world are going to be facing off, and we have the initial group stage. We're going to be jumping into group stage, Group A. It is a 4-player GSL group, not round robin. So GSL group, it means that the winners will play against winners, losers against losers, and then a decided match at the end. 5 best of 3s. 5 best of 3s are ready here for you tonight. And who is in Group A? 4 players. ByuN, Trigger, who's going to be playing first, followed by herO and Rogue. So honestly, this is one of the higher profile groups, one of the closer groups as well. We have some top tier Protoss, Zerg, and Terran all in Group A, and they're going to be facing off here before you. Let's go. Let us go. Game 1 is going to be here on 10,000 feet as we jump into ByuN versus Trigger. Bearing in mind that Trigger is peaking at the moment. Trigger, he recently did defeat Clem in the finals of a best of 5 of the WarDCV Monday. So Trigger has been looking like a beast. Specifically in PvP, he's been popping off as well. I want to say he beat Max Packs like 3 or 4 times over the past 7 days. Like, it's crazy just how strong Trigger has been looking in some matchups. I will say that Trigger is looking a little bit weaker against Zerg. We did take note of that in his series against a Laser in last week's WarDCV Monday finals. So again, Trigger, his PvZ is looking a little bit lacking, but his PvT and PvP is looking on point. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss for Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran for Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And also a big shout out to Angry SE2 in the chat. Share my. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great time. Dzień dobry. Welcome one and all, as we are jumping into our fresh series, our fresh best of 3. Oh boy, here we go. First things first, ByuN is going for an economic opener. He's going for a rack expand, a single gas start out of our Terran player. Meanwhile, we do see Trigger scouting for a proxy, does get eyes on the SCV, and should be in position to block the eBay if we attempt it. Oh, overreaction here. 3 probes, Jesus. Yeah, 2 probes were sent down to low ground, so a bit of an overreaction. We do see that Trigger desperately wants to make sure that there is no block, and he wants to expand. There it is. Nexus gets thrown down. But you could argue here that this is a better start for ByuN. Sure, he didn't get the eBay block off, but he did force 3 workers off the mineral line, so he did cause quite nuisance across the map. Back at home, there's the reactor. Oh, sorry, there's the Reaper. Reaper is on the way alongside the CC on the low ground. Again, it was an economic opener out of ByuN and will settle into 10,000 feet. Now, welcome one and all to 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. Aggression is typically favored on this map as well. Because the map is so small, it does mean that you can take a fight, you can win a fight and instantly counterattack. Even if it's on your own half of the map, you can counterattack real fast and real quick. Momentum swings very heavily, very quickly on 10,000 feet. So that is going to be a big factor coming into this. These engagements are going to be that much more important. Now though, again, we're calming things down. We'll see the second choice from Trigger if he goes for a Stargate, Robot, or Twilight Council. If he goes for the Council, how many gateways as the Reaper does poke in, Stalker is out, and Trigger should not lose any probes. It does zone the Reaper away. There it is, Twilight Council for Trigger. He is getting into his Council. ByuN currently is unaware. As the Reaper is going to be zoned away. Again, that's one of the downsides of 10,000 feet, is it's a very inaccessible 2-base setup. Sure, there's a ramp into the main base, but it is fully walled off by those buildings. So only one way in. So far, Trigger does keep ByuN in the dark. Again, behind this, we're going for the Robo, we're going for a safety shield right away with the natural. Another gateway, getting up to, I believe, 2 gates, and we'll see if we go for a 3rd gateway or for a 3rd nexus. We have seen Trigger be quite greedy as of late. No, but never mind. I assumed it was going to be Blink, like 2-gate Blink, maybe 3-gate Blink, but no, it is going to be a Dark Shrine. Cheeky build here by Trigger. Fun fact, this is a very niche build, but we have seen this quite a bit over the past couple of weeks from players like Classic, herO, and now Trigger as well. We have seen a lot of Protoss players mix this in. I would not say that they rely on it, I would not say that they depend on it, but once in a best of 3, once in a best of 5, we have seen DTs sprinkled into these recent PvTs, and Trigger is also one to embrace that. Now, ByuN, we have seen him insta-GG to this before. This is very deadly. The Invisible Man is pretty good. Now, if ByuN mules at the wrong time, if he does not get a Raven out, thankfully there is a Raven on the way, then the game could just end. But as you just mentioned, he's going for the add-on swap. Thankfully, 1-1-1 Raven opener. ByuN, he will have detection. This will not end the game. Okay. At the same time, what am I drop here towards the main base? We do see Trigger. He does have his Stalkers on patrol at the natural. Main base is exposed. Drop comes in, and ByuN sees everything. His scouts the dark, trying to confirm what's going on. Should be holding onto a scan. Wouldn't mind doing get much done, and can even be saved. Yeah, nice save. Oof. Nice save on one of the mines. DT's warping in, and now Trigger, he knows that ByuN knows, right? He knows he's been scouted. Oh no! As the mine shot goes off, 5 probes go down. Ay, that should not have happened. As Trigger, he was inattentive, it goes across the map, it does save the DTs at least, but again, it gets spotted by the Raven. Oh, good. As he has to back off. And again, so far, Trigger having a hard time here in the early game. So far, his opener has not paid for itself. He's lost 5 probes. Oh, and the Viking's gonna hunt the prison down. Ay, unloads, saves the DTs with the prism. There's a recall, will not save it. Oh my god. War prism goes down. Another 5. Oh god, another 5 probe kills, 10 in total. As the mine shot went off, ByuN just pulling Trigger apart here, and Trigger is having a very hard time getting into the mid game. We have a 3rd nexus on the way. Trigger, he's expanding, he's taking up, he's staying on a low gas count to get into mainly a charge based composition. Charge is now done. But ByuN has momentum. Now, it looks like ByuN is going to be staying back at home for the time being. He could have gone for a 2-base all-in and pulled the boys, but no, he's going for a later timing, waiting for stim, waiting for combat shields. Upgrades are on the way, so once they kick in, then ByuN will move out. So until then, ByuN is going to be building up back at home. This is giving Trigger the opportunity to recover. So far, he has yet to take into any splash damage. He's very heavily reliant on those zealots. Charge on +1, now getting into Blink. Speaking of, Blink is not yet done, and Stalkers are going down. Losing 1 Stalker so far. Raven harass across the map. Gets a probe. Denies mining. So far, so good. ByuN being a little bit ambitious here with these Marines, bearing in mind the stim is not yet done. So we do get some harass. Forcing friendly fire more than anything. As here comes ByuN's push. And this is lined up. This is lined up with the upgrades. +1 is going to finish in the middle of the fight, but stim and combat shields will complete in time for the timing attack for the push. 5 more probes going down. Else to the Raven. ByuN's moving in. And yeah, no shield battery in position. There's no battery. Once this area does open up a little bit further here, then maybe Trigger can engage. So far though, ByuN kites well. Takes down the Zealots. Does focus fire the sentry. And I can just stim in. Yeah, he can just stim on forward. He's going for the Immortals. He gets one. One Immortal goes down. He gets one. He's going to be able to get the other as well. Massive pickup. CG gets called. And ByuN, he overwhelms. He breaks through. He does take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. ByuN takes the lead in this series. Again, a very, very rough start for Trigger. Winding it back, remember, he was losing all these workers to the Widow Mines, to the Widow Mine drop. He lost 10 probes to the Widow Mine drop, 15 in total to the Raven harass as well. Actually, I want to say even almost up to 20 workers went down just to the harassment. On top of that, he did take a big gamble, a big risk going into DTs, and unfortunately he got scouted. He didn't just get scouted, but ByuN was already opening up Raven as well, so he would have had detection available. So a very rough start there for Trigger. The builds, the openers did not go his way, and ByuN was able to get a very comfortable lead early on. That's why that defense was so difficult, was because all the tech leading up to that didn't really pay off. We lost a lot of workers, and the initial DT opener didn't pay for itself. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2. Going to be loading into Winter Madness, a much larger map in the map pool, and this is going to give Trigger a little bit more breathing room. But let's go. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss for Basilisk. It is Trigger. Here we go, and again, it was just a very rough early game for Trigger, which set him behind. We'll see if Trigger can get into a more comfortable game state here in game 2 on a much larger map. Now, we did mention here that because of the size of 10,000 feet, it allowed for more aggressive timing attacks and more crisp just pushes, which we saw at ByuN. Here on Winter Madness is a higher chance that we can settle into a longer game state. I do favor Protoss when it comes to getting into the mid game, when it comes to gaining map control and looking to overwhelm the Terran. We'll see if Trigger can get there though. That is a big question. So if he can get there, we'll see if he can embrace the mid game. As ByuN once again, single gas opener, once again going for a more economic start. We'll see if he goes into another Widow Mine drop. Otherwise, he can go into Reactored Hellions or Reactored Reaper Hellion, for example. Can go into faster Tech Lab, faster Cyclone. We could see Banshee play, which was very trendy, very popular last year in this matchup. We'll see. So now Trigger, it's his turn to be as annoying as possible. In position to pylon block. Let's pull away, and it doesn't really deny too much mining here. Does force the second SCV down to the low ground, and on top of that, it did delay the CC for like a second or two. Oh, hello. Speaking of, because ByuN revealed the CC timing, ByuN, he's going for a Tech Lab into Marauder. So the goal here, the plan is to try to punish Trigger, who should be punishing ByuN. Once again, just to wind it back a little bit here, ByuN is going for a faster, more greedier build. Trigger, he's aware. ByuN knows that because of the attempted pylon block, and ByuN is hoping to try to punish the Adept moving out across the map, assuming that Trigger would try to delay the economy of ByuN. We can see that Trigger doesn't go for the Adept, is going for the Stalker instead. Based on the rally, he's not moving out. So the plan here for ByuN was to catch the harassing Adept or the harassing Stalker, but it doesn't look like there will be one. So this was a big gamble here by ByuN. ByuN, he was hoping for a more aggressive response out of the Protoss, out of Trigger, and we're not really getting it. This Stalker moves out, but I believe a Trigger shouldn't commit. If he does commit across the map, he will lose it. Oh boy. Meanwhile, behind this, ByuN is going for a 3-racks. Ooh, okay, 3-rack set up here early. Stim, heavy bio army. Trigger, he moves out with the Stalker. He's gonna get caught, and this Stalker will go down. Yeah, massive pickoff here for ByuN. ByuN can keep on pushing. Trigger is in danger back at home. He's got throwing down a shield battery in desperation. Does have another gateway on the way. He's chroning out his Stalker, but again, it is a rough start for Trigger. Early on, he went for the Stalker. I assumed he was going to be taking more defensive stance. I mean, that didn't happen. He still moved out, and now ByuN is moving in. ByuN is moving in. The shield battery is not yet complete. ByuN, if possible, he wants that Stalker. We'll lose the Marine. Okay. Marine goes down. ByuN has to back off. Oh, can he get the Stalker? Oh no, he can! 2 Stalkers go down. Yeah, 2 Stalkers for a Marauder. A better trade here for ByuN. And remember, ByuN is going for a stim timing. He's going for the 3-racks. So hyper aggressive follow up here by ByuN. Trigger is in the dark. Trigger has seen nothing in regards to the main base. For all he knows, it could be a 3rd CC, could be 3 CC 3-racks, could be a 1-1-1 into Raven, could be a mine drop, it could be early Cyclone, it could be this early stim timing. As Trigger's getting up to 3 gates. So 3-gate blink into a 3rd base. This is relatively safe play out of Trigger, but the problem is that he has to be active with this. He has to move out to spot and to delay this. And here he comes. Now this is a little bit scary. Blink is still on the way. Blink is still being researched. Trigger does spot the army, he does spot Stim. As ByuN did reveal his hand. Trigger did reveal. ByuN is setting up back at home. He's got his bunker. His army is split. Oh, blinked in. Thankfully did have that prism. Trigger does save, and Trigger behind this, taking up in towards Colossus. So his goal here is to delay, is to contain ByuN while building up into splash damage. Meanwhile, ByuN is going to be waiting for his medevacs, bearing in mind that because of the 3-axe opener, the starport is late. It's a delayed starport, so delayed medevacs. ByuN is stuck at home. Trigger still not finding any real damage. He does pick up a couple of Marines here and there. Nice snap on the Observer. ByuN does spot him. And the upgrades are done. The upgrades are done. The medevacs have arrived. Now ByuN can push, and this is a massive army. Now with the Colossus, Trigger can survive this, but the first Colossus is still on the way. He needs a little bit more time. The first Colossus should pop out. At the same time, Trigger, he's ready for a backstab. He's getting ready for that backstab, potentially. As Trigger, he's forced to warp in back at home. A charge is still not yet done. We got slow lots. Oh, there's the warp in across the map. So no defensive warp in. Oh, the Colossus, no! Yeah, miscontrol. Late reaction here by Trigger. The Colossus goes down, and that's going to be it. That's going to be it. There's just nothing to defend. Again, there was only defense possible with the Colossus. But Trigger, he was inattentive. He was distracted by the Prism. By his own harass. The Rover goes down. No Colossus will pop. And ByuN, he has broken. He has broken the natural. He has broken the natural base. He has broken Trigger. As there's just nothing left to defend. Again, one small slip up, one small mistake, you're not looking at the wrong moments, and that can be game. That can be game then and there. as ByuN kills 16 probes. 16 probes, most of the stalkers now getting on top of the production. We have the second wave, the second army moving out. Has ByuN, his first army is still trading well. As ByuN sims in, catching the remaining stalkers. Once again, going for the third base mineral line. And what does Trigger have? He's down to 4 stalkers out of 3. GG gets called, and ByuN will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the winners match. GG. GG, well played. ByuN, he does claim the series. Again, just a really rough early game in game 1 for Trigger. Here coming into game 2, it is very similar. Trigger, he lost the early 2 stalkers, which did set him, did kind of pin him down back at home. Likewise, the sword that unfortunately he was just that little bit inattentive when it came to his defense. He wasn't looking at his Colossus, and it was the first thing to go down. And I'll be honest, the defense could have been possible there if he was able to pull back the losses in time, wait for the shield battery. If you remember, the battery was still not yet done either. It was like 10 seconds away. But if he could pull back the Colossus, wait for the shield battery, get a couple of swipes in, he could delay the push and extend the game. But once the Colossus went down, that was game. That was game then and there. GG, well played. With that, ByuN will claim the series, and now we're getting ready for our next best of 3. Bearing in mind, this is a group stage. This is a GSL group, of course, with 4 players. We have ByuN, we have Trigger, we also have herO and Rogue. Oh boy. Do have our PvZ. So bearing in mind, if you're a fan of Trigger, he's still in the tournament, he's still in the group. At Trigger, he's knocked down to the lower brackets. He's waiting for the loser of this series. ByuN, meanwhile, is waiting for the winner of this match. And again, there's a lot of hype around herO for good reason. herO, he is our most recent RSL champion and Thunderfire champion as well. So herO, he's got the biggest tournament wins in recent dates under his belt. Does have them. And we'll see if Rogue can stand up to him. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up with the chat. Oh, este tabito, papi. Ya, papi, ya. Este tabito. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. As we're getting into our fresh series, our next best of 3, and this morning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Go. Okay, as we're getting into our PvZ. Again, there's a lot of hype around herO. herO, he did excel. Again, it was during that Thunderfire event where herO took down several 3-0, by the way. So herO's coming in shape, in form. But Rogue is a very different kind of player. Rogue, he typically does come up with his own builds, his own styles. He can be very quirky, very unorthodox, and more importantly, he can be the aggressor. I feel like herO, he is at his best. herO's at his best, and herO looks amazing when he's the one dictating the pace of the game. When he's the one kind of forcing reactions and forcing responses out of his opponents. We'll see if Rogue lets him do that, lets him get in that position. For now, Hatchcast Pool, Standard Opener out of Rogue. Likewise, Standard Opener out of herO as well, going for the Gate Expand. Welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness is one of the larger maps in the map pool. I typically do favor Protoss here on Winter Madness just because it is easier to get into the mid game. But hey, I said the same thing about Trigger in the previous series, and he was unable to defend his third base, unable to defend against the first push. So we'll see. We shall see. It's good to see you, Tabito. Good to see you. Como siempre, papi. Como siempre. Cuídate, papi. Cuídate. So now our players are just going to be opening up. And we have our take-up choice, going to be a Stargate opener out of herO. Now, this is an interesting setup here. The opener is standard, but if you look at the placement of the pylon, it is further back behind the mineral line. This is typically an indication that something weird is going to happen here. We could go for an Oracle opener into a second Oracle and bank them up in the main base. We could go for a Void Ray, hunt down the Overlord, deny vision, and then go for a Fleet Beacon into a Tempest Rush. We could see a Carrier Rush. We could see Mass Void Ray as well. Or we could even see a faster Twilight Council after the Void Ray. But again, typically the pylon isn't thrown down back here unless we mean to hide something further. Technically, it could just be mind games. But yeah, there it is, Void Ray. So again, it was at least in my mind clear that it was going to be a Void Ray because of the placement. So the goal here is to hunt down the Overlord to keep Rogue in the dark. And then the follow-up. Will it be a Fleet Beacon, a Twilight Council, or a second Stargate? So now Rogue is keeping up with the Adepts. It's keeping up, still joining, still saturating. The Overlord does pull back to hide. Void Ray has arrived, hunting down the Overlord. And so far, Rogue's Overlord is safe. It's here on the right-hand side. herO is searching. Behind this, herO is going for an Oracle after the Void Ray. Interesting. Because it was a Void Ray first, this Oracle is going to be more unexpected. Void Ray does find one Overlord. Does bring it down. The Void Ray also did spot the Lings. herO setting up back at home. His Adepts are in position. Oracle does pop out, and he's going for a standard follow-up here. Forge into Twilight Council. Have a standard follow-up. Assuming it's going to be blink and not charge. Oh, never. Okay, you got my attention. So +1 into charge. Now, if you remember, if you were here for the several series, you'll know that herO, he did not open up a blink, and at least until I think game 3, if at all. We saw a lot of charge-based play out of herO, and he was able to catch Cheryl with his pants down multiple times. Speaking of, Rogue is going for the early Evo Chamber in a +1 melee. He's setting up for a Ling Hydra. And that is where charge can excel. So Oracles poke in, they get 1, they get 2. Ooh, 2 more drones go down. 3 drones even. Nice pickups. They get 3 workers at the same time. Rogue, he's trying to be active on the map. Overlord goes in for the scouts. Now, I kind of alluded to it, but at least to speak a little bit more on it here. It is very standard in ZVP to play macro and to go into Ling Hydra and go Ling Hydra into Lurker or Ling Hydra into eventually Ling Bane Hydra. But it is not uncommon to skip your Roach Warren, which is what's happening here, and delay your Baneling Nest. Now, without Banelings, it's going to be a very tough defense for Rogue against a heavy Zealot composition. And again, the reason why you would skip Roaches and why you would delay, if not skip Banelings entirely, is because in this matchup, a standard follow-up is Blink, not Charge. So that's why this is more unexpected. Now, I believe Rogue saw the Temple Archives. Yes, he saw the Temple Archives with the Overlord, so he should be aware. Ooh, as the Oracle is sniped. Oracle does go down. Hydras are amassing. No Baneling speed yet. Oh, and here comes herO. Yeah, here he does move out. He gets spotted by the Zergling. Rogue knows. He knows what's coming his way. Setting up back at home, morphing in Banelings. As herO moves out, Rogue moves in. Ooh, thinking about a run by. Okay, does commit. Banelings get well into the middle line as well. No reaction. Ooh, very late reaction by herO. Lings coming from behind. They force the morph into the Archon, and that's going to be 15 probes going down. Massive damage at the same time. herO, he moves in. Do we have any defensive Banelings? No. Okay, 0 defensive Banelings, but where are the Zealots? Where are the reinforcements? Where's the War Prism? It's not here. Yeah, no prism, no reinforcements. herO's forced back, and again, herO will lose an entire mineral line. Ay, ay, ay. Adepts, they do get into their own mineral line. 3 drones go down, some damage is dealt, but herO's push is deflected. So Rogue, he's so far in a decent position. He's got his economy. He's building up his Ling Bane. Still no bathing speed. Now, you could argue the bathing speed isn't as important because you're up against chargelots, right? The Zealots are going to be coming at you anyway. But at the same time, it does limit your ability to engage. It does mean that this army is more vulnerable to Storm, and Storm is done. Like, Bailing's trying to get out of the Storm, it's not going to be possible. So here we go. herO moves out. He's got 3 High Templar, 3 Storms. There's the first. Yeah, first Storm pops off. The Bailings are very low, and there was only 3 Bailings, but here we go. 10 Bailings are now morphing in. There's 2 Storms left. Oh, waste 1. herO, we cannot be affording to waste these Storms. Down to 2, as another 4th High Templar does arrive. herO's down to 2 Storms. He's going to make them count. Oh, and once again, the one Storm was okay, but the other felt a little bit premature. And herO's out of Storms. He's out of Storms. He cannot push in. herO has to back off, and now we have the Lurker Den on the way. Now, when the Zerg player gets into Lurkers, the dynamic is going to shift. It is going to be a way for Rogue to slow down the army, to hold the line, to slow the game down. As bathing speed only just began. This tells us that this is a mistake, right? This tells us that Rogue, he never intended for bathing speed to be this late. He had the money for it earlier. So a big oversight for Rogue. Big oversight. As we mentioned, what does that really mean? It means that Rogue cannot pounce, right? Ideally, he would want to even try to collapse on this army and maybe even get us around, but without bathing speed, that's not really possible. So he's stuck defensive. Nice thing run by. Rogue gets past the army. At the same time, herO's pushing in. The Archons lead the charge. And the Lings, they may even get the expansion. Oh! It's a lot of Bailings. Nice Storms. Once again, no bailing speed. They do actually deviate. Nice connections. Oof. Yeah, massive connections on the Zealots. But Storm does pop off. All the Bailings have gone down. No Bailings left. And herO's done it. He has done it. He has broken through. He still has 2 Storms remaining, so Storms are still available. Has plenty of Archons. And Rogue never got to Lurkers. He never got there. Lurker Den is done, but he never quite got there in the end. herO's going to overwhelm. Get a decent Storm on the Hydras. And GG gets called. GG gets called. herO, he snowballs out of control, and he does take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. herO takes a lead in the series. Again, Rogue had a really hard time getting into the mid game. We spoke about the lack of bailing speed. We spoke about how because he didn't have bailing speed for that game entirely, it meant that he couldn't actually be aggressive. He couldn't actually try to collapse on the army of herO. Couldn't set up for that, so he was just stuck being defensive. We did take note of the fact that Rogue, if he could survive until Lurkers, he could slow the game down, but he didn't get there. Lurker Den did finish, but 0 Lurkers are morphed in. Without Lurkers, this more high intensity army from herO can break through. This is how he was able to bring down several, so the same thing here against Rogue as well. GG. GG, well played. As herO does overwhelm, and with that we're getting into game 2, going to be loading into the Old Republic. Let's go. Let us go. As the series does continue, and spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Republic, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg. Oh, the Red Zerg representing Team Falcons down in the series. We'll see if we can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. Again, the best player in the world. He's won the most recent 2 premier events. Oh boy. And not an easy opponent to go up against. Now we might see Rogue mix things up a little bit here. it is a lot more safe as a Zerg player, where if you do find yourself up against a more zealot heavy composition, to get a safety Roach Warren, and to get into a Roach based composition instead of Ling Bane. Again, we did mention it at the start of last game, but just to re-emphasize, the biggest weakness of Ling Bane Hydra is how fragile the army is. It's a very, very fragile, very low HP army, and Storms and Archons and Zealots can just have their way with that kind of composition. That's typically why if you find yourself against a more zealot heavy composition, it is safer to go into Roaches instead, but that's only if you feel like you're in danger, or if you feel like your opponent is not playing Blink. The problem is that Blink is standard, so it's common for players to skip their Roach Warren just to be efficient. It is technically inefficient to throw down a Roach Warren, but it can keep you safe. So now loading into the Old Republic, another one of these larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground. And we'll see how our players do shake things up. Bearing in mind that last game herO did hide his Stargate, going for a Void Ray first. So we'll see if he does that again. We'll see. I mean, this time, my apologies, the Pylon is a little bit more out in the open. Pylon is more Cavalier, so the likelihood of this being a Void Ray is much lower, as we're not hiding the tech. So Stargate should be an Oracle. Should be the Oracle. So herO is changing up his opener. Staying alive is more efficient than being dead. Smurge, baby, smurge. True, but that's like saying every Terran should open up double gas against Protoss because it's quote-unquote safer, right? Like, there's safe ways of playing, but typically you wanna cut those corners. You wanna go single gas as Terran in TVP. As you wanna open up hatch gas pool. As Protoss, you wanna get into your third base. Oh, meanwhile, my apologies. herO does open up Void Ray. Okay. I assume because the Stargate was more out in the open that it would be an Oracle first, but no, it is once again the Void Ray. Now, the Overlord is here outside of the natural. You can see that the Void Ray is rallied here. Oh, where we rallied? Rallied across the map and may come across the initial Overlord. May come across both. So Void Ray does move out. herO does spot the initial Overlord. And we'll bring it down. So far the follow-up is the same, going for the Oracle, going for his third base. This should lead into a Twilight Council Forge, into charge and +1, if this is the same build. Ooh, meanwhile, Evo Chamber first out of Rogue. This tells us he wants to go into +1 melee. He wants to go into Ling Hydra again. So we're getting signs here, we're getting glimpses of what Rogue wants to take up into. There's that follow-up. And this is looking eerily similar to game 1, and I am concerned. The Oracle does confirm the Evo Chamber. Here should be feeling good about this. Should be feeling good. Oh, Rogue, he goes for the lair. No upgrade. Okay, I like this. So Rogue does adjust. Rogue, he went for the Evo Chamber for the early upgrade. He then chose to not get the upgrade, to go for the lair instead and save the Roach Warren. So Rogue, he does adjust. It does mean that this Evo Chamber was a bit of a waste because, again, he had to kind of like shift gears mid-build, but he is switching into Roaches. He should be a lot safer against a charge-based composition, assuming that it's charged. And there it is, +1 in charge. And from here, he's going to later +1 range. With the faster layer, he can go into Roach speed, that much faster as well. Now, we have one of two different routes we can go from here. Either Rogue commits into Roach Ravager and goes Roach Ravager Hydra Lurker, or he goes Roach Ravager Ling Bane. So he has two different kind of routes to go for. Ooh, two different routes to go for. Meanwhile, the initial Oracle does get sniped. Does kill 7 drones. I mean, that is a very high drone count to go down, but alas, that Oracle does have a lot of value as time goes on. With scouting, with stasis traps, with revelations. So nice pick off here by herO, but at least herO got some value out of it. At the same time, herO did scout the Roach Warren. He knows. So here he scouts the Roach Warren. He is fully aware. He now knows that the charge timing shouldn't be as effective. And we can see that Rogue is going non-tilling Bane, but Roach Ravager into Hydra Lurker. So Hydra Den is on the way. It's going to be a very beefy army. herO is pushing nonetheless. Zergling does scout the move out. The Rogue is taking very quickly. Uh-oh. That is a very... I mean, there was already a fast Hydra Den because we should not be making Hydras at the moment. Likewise, fast Infestation Pit. Right now, we need as much Roach Ravager as possible. So far, 7 Roaches. That should be enough. As we have 11 more Roaches on the way. Oh, one Queen gets caught. Yeah, one Queen is caught out. Lings, they come in from behind. Picking up the Zealots, but so far, herO is trading well, getting on top of the expansion. Shades into the mineral line. And herO holds. Yeah, herO, he does hold on. Forces back herO at the same time. They do get into the middle line. And herO did pull away in time, only losing a handful of drones. 2. And only 2 drones go down, but 9 mining. And hero's not stopping. Ooh, herO, he's not stopping. He's reinforcing from across the map. He's rallying. Yeah, he's rallying. And herO just droned. herO, he just droned up. Just made workers. He has to be careful here as herO is going into double immortal production behind this. Okay, herO does hold. He still will lose 6 drones in the process. But herO does hold on. And now he's taking. Now we'll see if the greed pays off. So if you recall, we did mention how herO got a very fast infestation, but he got a fast Hydra Den. He is not going for upgrades. He is opting to go for an all-in. Overload speed. Overload speed is on the way. What does this tell us? German taxi. We're loading up the German taxi here. So unfortunately, this means that money was wasted. We wasted resources on the Hydrogen, wasted resources on the infestation bits, and instead we're going for a massive all-in here off of a 3.5 base economy. As you can see, no, oh, does pull into gas once it gets revealed. Okay. Revelation on the base, but again, no drones. No drones, barely any saturation here. Overload speed is almost done. We're waiting for the Dropper Lords. We do see the hero, that one Oracle, barely live on 1 HP, getting the Revelation off. And here comes Rogue. Yeah, here comes the all-in. Rogue rallying everything across the map. He's maxed out. herO, what does he have to defend? He has 4 Immortals. Okay, 4 Immortals. He will have 1 shield battery on the low ground. Now, bearing in mind, herO does not have to defend this low ground expansion. Like, this base is not the end-all be-all. He can give it up. Here he commits. The Immortals, they do get a lot of damage done. Oh my god. Yeah, the Roaches are getting caught out. The Ravagers are out of position. Yeah, Ravagers are on their own. Very haphazardous hack here from Rogue, and he's going to lose everything. Yeah, Rogue, he came in with his Roaches first, and then with the Ravagers. His army was disjointed. Does pick up 2 Immortals, okay. Gets 2, gets 3. 3, all 4 Immortals go down. Oof. But it cost him everything. Yeah, very messy assault here from Rogue. Ay, ay, ay. Very messy. And remember, Rogue was maxed. Rogue, he was up 70 supply. He was maxed out, and now he plummets in supply. And remember, Rogue, he's not set up for a longer game. Like, remember, he chose not to get upgrades. He chose not to get a Hive. He's only just now starting +2 because the all-in failed. Meanwhile, herO is working on +3. Alright, +3 is on the way. As Rogue is gearing up for wave 2. herO is going to have 4 Immortals once again, and Storm is on the way. Storm is going to be another big factor. Now, when I saw Overload speed, I assumed it was going to be Dropper Lords, but it looks like he's just using the Overlords to spread creep. As you can see, the Overlords are pushing forward, spreading all the creep. Val's he's going back to the army. One of the Immortals is getting caught out. So nice pick up from the first Immortal. First one goes down. Decent concave here as a couple of roaches peel off in towards a third. At the same time, here is catching reinforcements. That's a lot of zealots going down. Roaches going for the robos. Storms are lit. Oh god. Brutal storms. Yeah, storms are landing. In the end, the roach ravager is going to be forced back. Zealots are getting into the mineral line. Queens are going down. Lack of injects. Whole position in the mineral line as well. And here defends. Here he defends. The robos that were kept safe. Those roaches that were peeled off was not worth it. The overlords are being focused down. Oh, this may even supply the rogue. And here is all over this. GG gets called. The all-in fails, and herO, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the winners match. GG. GG, well played. A very different kind of dynamic here in game 2. If you remember, Rogue did play roaches this time, and Rogue did survive the aggression of herO. herO, he moved out with his chargelets again, he moved out with the Archons. I was concerned that maybe Rogue was droning up a little bit too much. He did lose a lot of workers in his defense. If you remember, he lost 7 drones to the Oracles, and he lost another 6 to 7 drones to the Zealot aggression as well. So he did take some damage, and Rogue, he decided that he had taken too much, and that he would follow it up with an all-in. He chose to go for the all-in. If you remember, this wasn't the initial plan. That's why Rogue had the Hydroden, and that's why Rogue had the Infestation Pits. Remember, the initial plan looked like he wanted to go into Lurkers, but he changed that plan once he lost drones, right? Once drones were going down, then he felt like, oh, I'm losing too much, like I need to get some damage done now. I'm not going to be able to macro out of this. And so he chose to go for the all-in. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, the execution of the all-in left much to be desired. Rogue, he pushed forward with his roaches, and his ravagers are still morphing in. So his army wasn't there. So it was a very, very lopsided kind of attack. Because of that, he fought with the roaches first. The roaches died first, and then the ravagers arrived, and they were on their own. Right, they were on their own, so then they also went down as well. They had no buffer, they had no support. So again, it was a very messy fight there from Rogue, and with the failed initial all-in, that was kind of game. That's game then and there. GG, well played. With that, herO, he does claim the series, and now we're getting ready for our next matchup. We're going to be going for the lower bracket match. Let's go. Here we go. It is going to be the elimination match. Elimination match between Rogue and Trigger. Bearing in mind that Trigger did go down to ByuN earlier. Rogue, he just went down to herO. And now we're here to determine who is going to be the first player to be eliminated from the group. Oh boy. Okay. As game 1 is going to be on Taito Citadel. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Taito Citadel, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the South Korean Zerg, we have the Red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player. We have the Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Go. So I'm just setting up the group. Just jazz it up. But here we go, we have our PvC. Now, I did mention previously that Trigger has been looking like a beast against all things Protoss and all things Terran, but instead it has been the ZVP matchup where he has been struggling that much more. Right, Rogue, he has been struggling that much more. Sorry, Trigger has been struggling that much more against Zerg. He went down to a laser. That was what, last week? That was in the semifinals of the Water TV Monday, so we'll see how Trigger will change his approach here against Rogue. Rogue can be a very aggressive player himself. I mean, hey, we saw him attempt to all-in against herO. Did fail, but now welcome to Taito. Taito Citadel is one of the more awkward maps of the map pool. We have the goal base, of course. We have very spread out 3rd and 4th bases as well. I'll be honest, we don't really get to see a lot of ZVP on Taito, so I'm curious to see how our players will approach this, if we get any kind of quirky builds. get anything different. Here we go. As we do have our initial Stargate open out of Trigger, opening up Stargate, standard open out of our Protoss player. At the same time, we do have Rogue also going for a hatch gas pull into a third expansion. So far, so good. Everything's looking normal, everything's looking standard. Trigger, he isn't really one to mix things up, so what we should be seeing out of Trigger should be Stargate into Oracle, an Oracle-based opener, into Harass across the map, into +1 and Blink. Last series, we saw that herO time and time again was going for charge-based compositions, was going for something more aggressive and more assertive, which is more unorthodox, which is out of the norm. At least currently. It's possible that maybe the meta will shift and maybe that style will progress and become more popular. It is possible. Trigger is claiming his third base. Oracle's on the way. And again, if you're out there, if you're learning Protoss or learning PvZ, like this is, as opposed to the herO series, this is a lot more like standard. This is this is a lot more by the book. As things are looking for a way in. Well, that's going to be a kill on the Spore. Okay, so it gets a drone, gets a Spore. Nothing crazy, but a nice pick up here by Trigger. Trigger does manage to shade away. So far, getting a couple of drone kills, not bad. 2 or 3 drones going down. At the same time, Lings, they move out. The Oracle's back at home to defend. Trigger, he defends, and he does get 5 drones. So not bad here out of Trigger. Likewise, delaying the 4th. Delays the 4th base. I will say that the follow-up here is late. Twilight Council, Forge, Robo as well. This is a late follow-up out of Trigger. That is concerning. That does mean that any kind of +1 blink timing you want to go for is late. It's going to be delayed. And it's going to be delayed as the depths are going to be going down. The Oracles, they race back home to defend. This is getting out of hand. 3 probe kills and the pylon. Nice damage out of Rogue. At the same time, behind this, we do have range. Wait, what? The lair was prioritized. Gases are being taken. Rogue is going for a Hydra all-in. You often don't see range on its own like this. Yep, there it is. Hydras are going to be on the way, so a very heavy Hydra composition out of Rogue. This is very aggressive. We've seen this a lot from Solar. So he does have these like 3.5 base / 4 base all-ins with just mass Hydra. We'll see if that's the case here. Ooh, as Trigger, he does delay the 4th base and does deny it once again. Twice now, no 4th expansion. Here come the Hydras, and we should be seeing even more than this. again, Mass Hydra on the way. Drop Lord is being set up. Rogue going behind, go for the gold, true. Going for the gold expansion. And Trigger's done a great job when it comes to harassing, but as you mentioned, the Hydra count is slowly getting higher and higher. Oh, okay. This is crazy. We do see that Rogue, he is going to be going Hydra into mutas. You only see one or the other. Again, so much gas is already spent on Hydras here. There's not really going to be much left over here for the mutas. It does feel like this should just be like maybe six mutas just to harass. So bold move out of Rogue. As Rogue does, oh, almost catch out one of the oracles. Storm is done. Oh my god. A little bit trigger happy here. 3 storms, that could have just been 1. So a lot of storms are being spent. At the same time, Lings, they do slip by. Yeah, trigger being pulled out of position. Losing 10 probes at the natural. Probes go down. I'm still not convinced by the Spire, but hey, he's got 600 gas, so he can make those 6 meters. 4 meters, 5 meters on the way. That is enough to one-shot. Yep, they're going up to 7 meters actually. Fun fact, instead of a Spire and Mutas, that could have been a Lurker Den, right? That could have been a Lurker Den, that could have been a couple of Lurkers morphing in instead. So again, this is a bold move here by Rogue. We'll see if it pays off. Drop Lord into the main base, army's in position. Full Drop Lord goes down. Massive pick off here by Trigger. But that is a lot of supply in the main. That's most of his army, actually. Yeah, Trigger kind of mismanaging his army. Has his Templar getting caught out, losing 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, 3 Templar go down. Trigger did overextend, and now he's trickling in. And Warping is denied. And Trigger, he needs more High Templar, needs more Storms. How many does he have? 1. Oh, good. Only 1 High Templar. Rough position for Trigger. Rogue is almost maxed out on just almost pure Hydra. As Mino's there catching reinforcements. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 2. Okay, gets 2 Templar. Both Templar go down, and no storms left. Going for the final Templar, and it does go down. Very nice snipes here out of Rogue. Using the mutas purely just to snipe High Templar. And again, without storms, these Hydras, they can pop off. Archons are going down. Baneling's getting into the mineral line. Ooh, does take 1 big storm to the face. But again, that should be the only storm. Should be the only storm. And again, I wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced by the muta play, but it was more than worth it. Like the mutas, they were the MVPs. So the MVPs, they sniped all the High Templar. GG gets called, and Rogue, he takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Rogue, he does take a lead in the series. Does take a lead here. It does take the first game. Again, we did see that Trigger, he had a bit of an awkward start, if you recall. His tech was delayed. Likewise, he was having a hard time keeping up with the harassment, losing a lot of workers to Ling run-bys, to Ling counterattacks. And again, he did kind of mismanage his army, leaving too much back at home and attacking with too little. That's when everything kind of fell apart there, as he bled out the initial High Templar, bled out the initial Archons as well, before reinforcing and trickling in, and just a really awkward kind of engage there from Trigger. GG. GG, well played. And also just really cool play there by Rogue to go into the 7 mutas and to solely use them to snipe the Templar. To snipe those Templar, and he was able to get them as well. So really impressive control there by Rogue. as Rogue takes a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the blue Protoss, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg player himself from South Korea, representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. Here we go as we're settling into game number 2. And welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is a much smaller map than the map pool, much smaller map. Aggression is typically favored here, and we should be seeing our players be in each other's faces. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Rogue goes for an earlier Roach Warren here. Eyes are on Rogue. Likewise, we could see Trigger go for a heavier Gateway count as well, a faster Twilight Council. There are aggressive options, as Trigger just being as annoying as possible. Just being annoying, just trying to deny some mining or trying to force some inefficient mining. And we're just waiting for the tech. Cybercore is now done. Based on the pylon placements here, it does look like a Stargate opener out of Trigger. We'll keep an eye on him. Again, when it comes to Tourmaline and when it comes to the aggressive nature of the map itself, we spoke about the rush distance. The other big factor, of course, is how open the third is. Very, very open third base, very open fourth expansion as well. So again, very difficult to actually muster up a defense here. And speaking of aggression, there it is. I assumed it was going to be Stargate into Twilight Council. Instead, just straight Twilight Council out of Trigger. Okay. And again, this is what we expect on Tourmaline. So Twilight Council most likely into Glaives. Oh, never mind. That is an early Forge. You have my attention. So Forge +1 upgrades don't really benefit Glaive Adepts, so we don't really expect to see them come hand in hand. With the early Forge, this tells us, okay, +1 charge or +1 in blink. What's it going to be? Trigger's got his 200 gas. Leaning more towards blink now as we're staying in gas. Yep, there it is, blink. Blink is on the way, so early blink. 2-base blink. We should be seeing a Gateway explosion out of Trigger. It's going to be a 2-base all-in. And Rogue, he needs that safety Roach Warren. Robo's on the way. Rogue's still trying to get a read on what's going on. As Rogue checks for the third, sees there is no third expansion. And no third base in sight. Pokes in, pulls away. We're at 4 minutes. There it is. Early Roach Warren out of Rogue. He's playing it safe. Now, these Stalker-based all-ins are very awkward just because against Glaive Adepts and against Charge, you want Roaches. Against Blink Stalkers, you want Lings. Like, Lings are a little bit more important. At the same time, you do need that Roach Ravager kind of backbone to your army as well. It can get quite intense. As you have 5 gates, I believe. Sorry, 6. So it's going to be a 2-base, 6-gate all-in. Let's go. Gases are being taken at the natural. They're being saturated. The all-in is coming. You could definitely argue that Rogue maybe cut Workers a little bit too early. Cut Workers at 40. We'll see if he can sustain that defense. Stalkers get revealed. Now Rogue knows. He's now aware. He's aware of what's going on. Has to pull back. How many roaches does he have? He has 3 roaches so far. Ooh, Rogue gets supply blocked. Uh-oh. Yeah, big supply block for Rogue. Ravagers are now morphing in. And Trigger is pushing. Trigger's got his 6 gateways. Lings, they try to come in from behind. Nice round of the Zealots. And nice round. Trigger, he turns back around. Trigger getting caught out. A rough start for Trigger. Losing what? 6 Zealots. Stalkers, they dive into the mineral line. Gets 1, 2, 3 drones. 3 drones go down. Denying creep. A Rogue, he's being active as well. Oh. As the wall is close, it is a full wall off, but the ByuNs are going to knock down those pylons. Pylons being knocked down, a Trigger is caught out in the open. Once again, the Zealot gets surrounded. Everything gets surrounded. Massive pickoffs here as Rogue can catch out the Stalkers. Recalls barely in time. Every Stalker does escape. He gets away. But again, Trigger stuck on the back foot. Stuck on the back foot. Oof. ByuNs are connecting. Nice focus firing on the Ravager. Gets 1. Yeah, just the 1. Cybercore is getting low. Now low Cybercore. Nice force fields out of Trigger. Very nice. Chokes up the army. Forces Rogue back. Rogue back at home. Now he's droning. Getting a gas geyser. Eva chamber. Lair is on the way. Rogue is attempting a transition, but his drone count is very low. Okay, we have 16 links on the way. That could have been 8 drones. Could have been 8 workers. Rogue, he recognizes that he cannot kill. He cannot kill Trigger. But again, his drone count is incredibly low here as he tries to tech up. Meanwhile, Trigger's taking as well. He's taking up in towards Archons. Uh-oh. Archons are on the way. The problem here is that Rogue, he's very Ling heavy. He has, what, 3 Ravagers and 2 Roaches? It's insanely Ling heavy here. Archons are going to be a problem. And again, Rogue, he's got 34 drones. Like, he has not made a drone in a very long time. He got the lair, but he can't afford to do anything with it. He got the Eva chamber, he can't afford the upgrade. As things are trying to collapse in. Where are the Archons? Where are they? Oh my god. As they graze the army, and Rogue, he comes in for the full surround. Nice shelling with the Archon, with at least 1. And Rogue does catch him out. Does catch Trigger out. Trigger has to get the hell out of here. Getting the most out of that 1 Archon. Let's go. Gets the most out of it. Rogue's still just amassing an army. Bearing in mind that Rogue is now all in. He's forced himself all in. And now we're going for the base trade. What's the plan? Oh, turns around. It does recall back home. And awkward defense here from Trigger. He just wants to move out. Zealots attempt to come in from behind. Lings are distracted. Ravagers are exposed. Oh no! He gets them. Gets 1. 1 Ravager goes down. Again, the Zealots are distracting. Ravagers are exposed. Blinks on forward, and all these Ravagers are going to fall. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Rogue, he got baited. He got baited by the Zealots. And that was an awful fight for Rogue. Rogue losing everything. All the Lings, all the Ravagers as well. There's 1 Ravager alive, but it can just be hunted down. Speaking of... Oof. Final Ravager falls. And Trigger's done it. Trigger, he has done it. Remember, herO, he doesn't have an economy. He's got 34 drones. He has a worse economy than Trigger. And momentum swings from one player straight to the other. Trigger moves out. Moves out again. Oof. No Ravagers remaining. Only Ling Roach. No piles. Do get a nice round, but again, the army can always blink. It does blink away. Blinks away. Cannot quite save the Archon. But it's fine. There are no Lings left. Yeah, no Lings remaining. Now Queens are falling, Roaches are falling as well. Expensive losses here for Rogue. Rogue, he cannot afford this. Now trying to get into Roach speed. And Trigger is almost there. Casito, papi, casito. GG gets called. 3 Roaches remaining, and Trigger, he does fight back. He puts a point on the board, forcing the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Trigger does tie up the series, and we're going all the way to game number 3. Again, Rogue, he did have multiple opportunities where he could have droned. If he wanted to, he could have droned, he could have saturated, but he committed. But like, it felt very... It did feel like Rogue was misjudging his economic game state. The only reason why I say that is because there were a lot of opportunities for Rogue to drone. Rogue didn't drone, but what did he do instead? He got a lair, and he got an Evo chamber. Like, that tells me that he believed that he could afford upgrades, that he could afford to tech up. So to me, it feels like he didn't recognize just how many drones he had lost in the lead up throughout this game. And didn't realize just how low his economy was. 34 drones. Like, that's why even though he got the lair, that's why even though he got the Evo chamber, he couldn't afford anything. He couldn't afford those upgrades, given the kind of game state that he was in. So GG. GG, well played. With that Trigger, he does recover, does bounce back, and now we're going into the ace match, going to be loading into Celestial Enclave. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the Canadian Protoss player, we have the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. Tying up the series, it is a Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. As welcome on to Celestial Enclave. This is one of the more macro maps on the map pool. Very large map with pocket bases as well. We have pocket bases, we have a secure natural, we have a secure third, a secure fourth base. Very often we do see very high economies and a later game state here. This is where I do have to favor the Protoss. We have seen many a Protoss player turtle up and get into Sky Toss on Celestial Enclave. So we'll see if Rogue can stop him. Now, because it is so easy to expand and to tag up, we have seen Zerg players likewise rush into earlier layers and earlier spires. We have seen a lot of muta play from Zerg in many matchups on Celestial Enclave, so there are other tech paths available here on a map like this. Do we rush into a spire? Do we rush into fast lurkers? Like, you can rush into a faster, like, cut corners in a faster hydras and a faster lurkers as well. We've seen that from Solar. From players like Solar, we've seen mutas from players like Shin. We'll see what Rogue goes for. Now, this is where mind games come into play. Because it's so common to be greedy and to be so economic focused, we have seen some Protoss players like herO and Classic, for example, actually turn the tables, mainly herO really, turn the tables on their opponents and actually be aggressive and go for an early charge build and catch their opponent droning instead, right? Catch the Zerg player just being too greedy, droning, taking, and then bam, you show up with an army and they're not quite ready for it. Does happen at the highest level. So now Stargate. So Stargate open out a Trigger. So far everything's looking normal, bearing in mind that last game Trigger did open up into a Twilight Council Forge, into early Blink, into his all-in. This time we're calming things down. Standard opener. So far. Trigger's claiming his third, so is Trigger. Ideally, you want to keep that pocket base in your pockets for a little bit later as a 4th or a 5th expansion. You don't want to take it too early, as that would be a waste. Want to save it. Again, Trigger is setting up. The initial Oracle moves out. Back at home, Rogue, his spores are in production. Spore in the main, spore in the natural. Lings they poke into the third. But Trigger defends. And again, this at least keeps the Oracle back at home for a moment, so Rogue is given more time to finish up his spores. Rogue even slipped into the main base. The timing of the Twilight Council is pretty standard, so it looks like Blink. So far, at least. Looks like Blink and +1. Standard follow-up. As the Oracles they poke in, catching a couple of drones. Safety Roach run out of Rogue. This feels a little bit unnecessary. We kind of spoke about this in game 1, if you recall, or even in the previous series actually, where roaches are usually they're a safety measure, typically in ZVP. They're typically inefficient. And given the map and given the game state, I don't really think anything calls for a Roach Warren like this. So, very safe play here by Rogue, and we'll see how hard he commits into Roaches. Again, this could just be for safety, in the sense that he might not make any Roaches. Let's Oracles poke in. Oof. Not too much damage here. Getting 4 drone kills in total. Ooh, and that is a fast Hydra then. Okay, so it's looking like Roach Hydra out of Rogue. If you remember, we were meant to be seeing this on the Old Republic, but Rogue, he was forced to go into a Roach Ravager all-in when he sustained too much economic damage. But you can see in the production tab, but no Roaches yet. And ideally, you don't want to make Roaches. But Rogue has no army. Oh, no. Rogue, he has no army. He starts upgrades. He now starts making Hydras. Meanwhile, Trigger, he denies the center base. As Trigger moves out. Again, this is pre-Blink. This is an early push. Like, usually you wait for these upgrades. So this is a bit of an anti-timing out of Trigger. He moves out, gets a free expansion. Rogue caught with his pants down. I don't blame him. Again, typically this hits a little bit later. So it's a bit of a ByuN push here out of Trigger, and it works out well. Oh. Trigger, he does rotate over. Meanwhile, Lurker Den is on the way. Infestation Pit's on the way. Again, Rogue, he wants to build up into Lurker tech. Wants to get there. But I was hoping Light would cast the tournament. Bienvenidos, papi, bienvenidos. Yes, I do apologize, as I mentioned before, but we were unavailable to cast Group A and Group B live, unfortunately. Due to things happening IRL, I just wasn't available. I was looking after my bunnies, giving them the medication. But Group C and D, which will be this evening and tomorrow evening, we should be able to cast live. So A and B is going to be via replays. C and D should be live. Should be. Yeah, fingers crossed. So yeah, we're catching up. As Trigger's building up into Storm. Now, there is a window in time where Trigger could actually kill Rogue pre-Lurkers. But as you can see here, Lurkers are now morphing in. If the Lurker count gets high enough, Rogue can slow the game down. And then we're forced into Sky Toss, right? Then the game slows down, we get into Sky Toss, into these slower compositions. Trigger's poking in. Bearing in mind, these are Lair-Tech Lurkers, and there's only 4 of them. They get spotted! Oh! Ooh, one gets focused down. Yeah, 1 Lurker falls, 3 Lurkers left. There's a Revelation. Revelation catching only 2 of the Lurkers. 2 Lurkers get caught. There's 2 more on the way. Second Revelation. All Lurkers get caught in the Revelation as well. And Trigger, he wants to dive. And he wants to dive in. She also storms. Oh! Yeah, storms on the Lurkers. The Lurkers are exposed, and there's not enough yet. Not enough Lurkers here. Trigger, he's going to overwhelm. A couple of High Templar do get low. 1 High Templar gets sniped. There's 2 Lurkers left. 2 Lurkers remaining. No detection. Well, the lack of detection is keeping Rogue alive. The Observer's a little bit too far back, but now he's moving in. Yeah, the Observer's here. Massive Storm. And Trigger's on it. Yeah, Trigger, he's breaking through. 0 Lurkers left. Without Lurkers, there's no defense. Well, he pulls the boys. Yeah, Rogue getting desperate. Pulls the boys into an Archon. Has to pull away. There's 3 Hydras left. 3. Oh no. As the final Hydras are going down, and Trigger, he will break through. The first player to be eliminated is going to be Rogue. GG, well played. Trigger, he'll advance on 2-1 over Rogue, advancing on to the decider match. GG. GG, well played. Again, Rogue, he was so close to slowing the game down. If you recall, we mentioned that there was a window in time when Rogue, before he had Hive Tech and before he had critical mass of Lurkers, that Trigger could kill. There were only 4 Lurkers. That quickly went down to 3 Lurkers as the first Lurker got sniped. We got the Revelations off. We had the detection, the Observer, and Trigger, he barely broke through before Rogue could get the Hive Tech. Remember, the Hive was done, but 0 Hive upgrades, and again, he just wasn't able to stabilize. Just barely nuts. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Trigger, he does advance on, and Rogue is out of the tournament. Rogue actually the first player to be eliminated from the Rongyi Cup. GG. GG, well played, and let's quickly catch up on the group itself. Oh boy. Let us quickly catch up. As you can see here, it is a GSL group. GSL group is before us. We did begin the broadcast with ByuN versus Trigger. You can see here that ByuN did defeat Trigger initially 2-0 in a relatively fast series, I will say that. Then we had herO. herO took down Rogue 2-0. Up next, we have the winners match. As you can see, the winners match is going to be ByuN versus herO in a PvT to determine the first player to make it through into the playoffs in Group A, who's going to be the first player. Meanwhile, Trigger just took down Rogue 2-1, and Trigger is waiting in the decider match. He's waiting for the loser of ByuN and herO. So if you're a fan of ByuN and herO, one player will advance on into the playoffs, the other player will have a second chance, a second life against Trigger. Oh boy. Oh boy. For now, though, we are halfway through, more than halfway through the broadcast. We have 2 series left. Remember, these are all best of 3s. All best of 3s. So up next, we're going to be going on a break. And up next, we'll be having and featuring ByuN versus herO. Winners match. So ByuN versus herO is going to be coming up next, followed by the loser versus Trigger. That is the plan. So we'll see you guys in 5 minutes. It's going to be a short break, so take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and hydrate all of your hydras. We'll be back soon with that winners match. See you soon. Hope. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we've returned. We've returned here with the remainder of the broadcast. Welcome to the Rongyi Cup Season 3 Group A. We just wrapped up with the first elimination match, and with that, Rogue is the first player out of the tournament, out of Rongyi Cup. The question becomes, who's the first player to make it to the playoffs? Again, we have herO and ByuN about to face off. Again, in a best of 3, game 1 is going to be on 10,000 feet. Let's go. Let us jump on in. Let us jump into our first series, our first best of 3, again, to determine who will advance on into the playoffs, who will be knocked down to face off against Trigger in that decider match. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran for Shopify. It is ByuN. Here we go as we do open up. Welcome to 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet is one of the smallest maps. I believe it has the shortest rush distance out of any map in the map pool. So very short rush distance, aggression and momentum. Well, aggression is favored here. Momentum very quickly swings from one player to the other because it takes so little time to go from one side of the map all the way to the other. So fights can heavily swing from one way or the other, depending on how they do go. And oh my god, as the probe gets very low. Jesus, very low. He wants it. He wants a probe. Jesus, he wants a probe. The probe goes down. Nice pick up here by ByuN, and herO did a slip up. He took too much damage on the worker. With that, the probe scout is denied, and herO will be playing in the dark. He at least is aware of the lack of gas. True. He saw the economic opener, but he will be unaware of the follow-up. He's going to be unaware. On patrol just in case. Getting eyes on any kind of would-be eBay block. So players are settling in. When it comes to these smaller maps, I typically do favor Terran. Terran players can be very aggressive, very active, and hit a lot of timing attacks. We saw that from ByuN in this series against Trigger. We'll see how herO will approach this. We have seen some success with players blindly opening up charge when they expect that their Terran opponents is going to be in their face, so you can try to hard counter that. And herO is one to gamble. Shorter rush distance than Steps of War. Shortest rush distance map in the map pool. Like, I believe, for example, like Beckett Industries is shorter than this. God, what's the other one? I think it was in the map pool before Beckett Industries. God, all that. Hold on. It was the map where Spirit beat Raynor on in EBT Europe. God. I'm gonna have to look it up. It's where they went all the way to the late game, and Raynor he was very. It was like an hour-long game, and Raynor was like, "Well, I guess this is what we're doing." And Spirit was like, "Yep." God. Neo Humanity, there we go. Jeez. I found it. Neo Humanity, I believe, has a shorter rush distance than this as well. But just referring to the map pool itself. Not all maps out there. Neo Humanity, that was a map. That was a map. For now though, ByuN, he does break out. I say he breaks out, bleeds out a lot of Marines in the process here. herO is still just bullying him, as more Marines are going to be falling. Behind this, ByuN going for his Widow Mine drop. That is one of the reasons why he's having such a difficult defense here, as the Widow Mines are moving out across the map. And mining is being denied. Ooh, herO pulling a Trigger, going for the DT follow-up. If you remember, Trigger in game 1 against ByuN also went Dark Templar. Unfortunately, ByuN had a Raven. Here, no Raven. No Raven. ByuN is going for a tank production, so we have a later tech lab. Wouldn't mind say to hit the natural. Oh! herO pulls away in time. Losing only 2 workers. Oh, Jesus. As herO does have a little bit of miscontrol, but so far ByuN has yet to go in. He's so close to scouting. He's so close. The Dark Shine is right there, but alas, ByuN, he sees nothing. Meanwhile, the CC is forced to lift. Now there is NG here for a scan. DTs are waddling in, and hopefully ByuN doesn't mule. As ByuN is holding onto those scans, does he notice? Ooh, A move. Yeah, herO's on A move. He reveals his hand. There's the first scan. Mind drop into the main. There's the second scan. Oh, as scans are being spent. Mind shot goes off on the Stalker. Not bad. But ByuN is stuck on 1 base. So the scan goes off. DT barely gets away. Okay. Barely escapes. There's the add-on swap here. Oh, sorry, there's a tech lab on the starport into the Raven. There's another scan is spent. And again, ByuN, he'll eventually be able to saturate this base, but it is heavily delayed. And we're forcing another scan. That's 1, 2 Marines. Again, herO just stripping away mules. Now there's a Raven, though. Oh no! Yeah, now there's a Raven, and herO, he... Oof! Does face check. Does face check into the Raven. herO now getting his 3rd up and running. Now taking up. Charge is on the way. No Forge yet. No Forge, no upgrades. herO setting up for a Zealot run by. And this is still very tense. Still very, very tense. The Mind Drops thankfully did some counter damage. herO testing the waters. Actually, hero's going to commit in. I assumed it was going to wait for a backstab, but no. Tanks are exposed. No bunker. Yeah, no bunker, no Sim City. He sees weakness. He sees an opening, and he's going for the tanks. They should get both. Should get both. There we go. 1. Both tanks gonna go down. Nice target firing out of ByuN. But both tanks fall. The Zealots, they just have their way with this army. Very nice force field there. The SCVs. SCVs, they get caught in the low ground. Marines, they cannot engage. And that's gonna be 19 dead SCVs. Critical damage. 20 SCVs even. And ByuN is struggling. Zealots, they try to force friendly fire. Nice target firing on the Stalkers. Oof. Still gets some friendly fire in the mineral line. And behind this, he was just chilling. Here, he's just getting High Templar. Storm is now on the way. herO is miles ahead. And ByuN from here should be forced into the all-in. Did ByuN see the DT? If you remember, herO, his DTs were on A move, and he revealed his DTs to the SCV. There was an SCV on the low ground that herO attacked by accident. So that's what prompted ByuN to scan. Yeah, it's herO. Now that he's ahead, he's just throwing down pylons all over the place, just getting vision on any kind of drops. That is a way for ByuN to recover, is drop play. Raven moves out. herO is aware. Oh, right, there's no blink. When I see Stalkers, I just assume the blink. Oh, no! Oh, as ByuN rallies over the Stalkers. Raven goes down. Oh, never mind. Barely survives. Okay. Barely survives. As ByuN almost punished. Just able to get back. As herO is getting ready for the second wave. Drop on the right hand side, which means there's even less to defend. There's only 1 tank on the low ground. Nice mine shot. Oh my god. Yeah, the mine shots are solid. Tank, ooh, doesn't quite focus on the High Templar. Yeah, storms on the army here, and herO has done it. He has broken the natural. There's not many zealots left over, though. Yeah, not many zealots. The drops, they come back home to defend. No. And ByuN, he will barely defend here. Cleans everything up. He'll still lose 10 SCVs, but ByuN holds. ByuN holds on. Again, unfortunately here, he had no proxy pylon or war prism, so he couldn't reinforce. He was lacking zealots. I say lacking zealots, technically it was the Widow Mines. Like, the Widow Mines, they traded so well against the charge lots. There were some brutal connections. ByuN dropping on the right. herO has to be careful not to be too wasteful here. herO moves in. Pulls away. herO moves in, bypasses ByuN's army, cleaning up 3, 4, 5 Widow Mines. ByuN does. Oh, no. I was gonna say ByuN commits to a fight, but he takes a massive storm to the face. And herO, he may have enough. I mean, his lack of reinforcements is still hurting him. His defensive weapons back at home, storm in the mineral line. And ByuN may barely clean this army up. Not even. There's still 2 Archons left over. Yeah, herO's finally done it. He's finally done it. He's finally broken the natural. GG gets called, and herO takes game number 1. Whew. GG. herO does take a lead in the series. Again, ByuN, he was able to keep up with the initial DT aggression, that is true, but he was stuck on one base, he was stuck with a subpar economy, and we did see that herO was able to punish him, well, specifically punish his lack of defenses at his natural base. We spoke about how there was just no sim city there, no depots, no bunkers, nothing to protect the tanks, so that herO whipped in his zealots and was able to break that natural base. Didn't kill, but did cripple. He was able to cripple ByuN then and there. GG, well played, and with that, herO takes a lead, and now we're loading into Ruby Rock. Another one of these smaller maps. Okay. Another smaller map. Once again, it does favor aggression. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Shopify. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back and force the ace match. It is ByuN. Here we go. As again, welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is another one of these smaller maps. Aggression is also favored here, and you got to see that last game. Even though herO, again, never really had a reinforcement point, he was still able to press his advantage and be in the face of ByuN and break him. And part of the reason for that happening was the size of the map. It's also applicable here to Ruby Rock, where the third base is more open, the fourth base is more open. Yeah, this area in between the bases as well, that's more accessible, and we often do see a lot of all-ins and a lot of aggression on Ruby Rock. Now, I should emphasize that this goes both ways. Just because we saw an aggressive herO last game doesn't mean that ByuN can't also be as aggressive as well. So we'll see if ByuN does shift gears. For now, ByuN coming with the eBay block. Thankfully, herO was able to scout in time, pull some of the boys, and shut this down. A little bit late to pull some extra workers here, pulling 4 probes in total. So a little bit late to pull, but regardless should be able to expand. Oh, do you see what I see? So ByuN had to make a choice. He could have gone Rax into CC, but he's going Rax into Factory off of one gas. With this, we can go Marine into Reactor. We'll see if he goes into the Reactor into Add-on Swap. Yep, there it is. Reactor is on the way. Most likely Add-on Swap into Hellion Production into Hellion Aggression. So we'll see what ByuN can get done. The other option, of course, is to stay on the Rax and go Reacted Reaper. True, true. Could go Reacted Reaper instead. Regardless, it is a very late command center is what we're emphasizing. So a hyper aggressive build here as the CC is late. It's going to be the add-on swap. So add-on swap into Reacted Hellion. And we'll see how hard ByuN commits. Oh, speaking of aggression, herO going for a 3-gate opener. Okay. This is often not seen, so this is very committed. Basically, what is herO doing? He's delaying his tech. He's delaying everything. Late Twilight Council, and going to be a later third base as well, in favor of an extra gateway, an extra set of gateways. Whereas typically, we'd already have a Twilight Council by now. A 4-gate. He's going for the 4-gate, and ByuN scouts. ByuN scouts. He finds one of the gateways. Again, this is basically an all-in at a herO, and he's been seen. herO responds. He wants to try to save that pylon. At the same time, Hellion's a counterattack in a head-on fight. ByuN will lose, but ByuN's not fighting head-on. ByuN's going for the run-by instead, going for the economy. Oh boy. As Hellions, they hit the natural, Marine does go down. The probes, there's no saving them. There's no saving these workers. There's no recall available either. Oh my god! Probes, they line up. Every probe is going to go down, and now we're going for the quote-unquote base trade. What do we have, though? We have 3 units. We have 1 Stalker, 1 Adept, and 1 Sentry, and 1 Probe. herO is breaking into the main. At the same time, the Hellions, they could even... they could try to push further in, but there's a force field here at the ramp. herO, he has to commit. So Cyclone has arrived. Nice Falcon here on the Sentry. Sentry goes down. Falcon on the Stalker. Stalker going to be forced back. Tank is now in production. That is a lot of Stalkers, though. Yeah, it's a lot of Stalkers, and the depot is finally going to go down. He breaks in. Does break in. Losing another Stalker. Down to 5. 5 Stalkers left. Hellions, they come in from behind. Gonna be zoned away. ByuN is contained on 1 base, but ByuN is still in a better position. Like, this is still not enough damage. As herO does pick up the final Hellions. Nice target firing. Oof. And tank shot goes off for losing 1 or more Stalker. The Adept as well. herO going for a Stargate behind this. Okay. Huh. Again, a really awkward follow-up as herO, he has a lot of catching up to do. He's trying to reprobe, trying to resaturate. I mean, the Twilight Council and Blink were already going to be late. Now even later. And we'll see how our players build up. herO, he's already aware of the Banshees. Did spot them. That actually might be the reason why we have, yeah, the Stargate. For all herO knows, they could be Cloak. So the Oracles are on the way. We know, of course, there is no Cloak. The Banshees are moving out. Remember, herO has no Blink. herO moves out. He gets a volley off. There's a recall into the main. Again, hero's army is very immobile. And 2 Banshees, they can one-shot. The shield battery does nothing. The battery does nothing. Gets 3, gets up to 4. Oh my god. Rotates into the main. Once again, Stalker's having a hard time keeping up, but there's that 4th probe going down. Oh. Banshees take a lot of damage. Oh no! ByuN pulls out, but the Phoenix has arrived. There's that revelation showing us that, again, herO was unaware of whether or not there was Cloak. herO moves out. Now with that Phoenix, he can lift the tank, but there are two. Yeah, 2 tanks are available. This time, nice SimCity. If you remember, this is what ByuN was missing in game 1. We spoke about it in game 1, but ByuN, his natural was incredibly open. Here, he fully walls off. So a much stronger defensive stance for ByuN. And here he sees the wall and he kind of find a way in. So third Banshee is thrown away. You're building up towards Storm. Very late third base for herO. So again, herO is still in a very awkward economic game state. Again, the early game was just awkward in general. It's very awkward. And ByuN does have a timing available to him. Stim is finishing up. But for now, ByuN just setting up outside of his natural. Third CC is on the way. ByuN has to be careful. He has to be careful not to be caught out. Zell save rotate over. herO could try to dive on those tanks, but herO does pull back. Oh, never mind. herO's dropping. This is where, sorry, ByuN is dropping. This is where ByuN is at his weakest. herO can try to commit in. He has to be careful with those High Templar. Nice tank fire. Yeah, tanks on the High Templar. One Templar goes down. He gets one. Gets one, gets two. Yeah, very nice focus firing there by ByuN. As ByuN does hold at the same time, double drop into the main base. Oof, probes are going to be going down. There's the recall. Recall is a little bit late, but the damage has already been done. It's already been done here, even focusing on the sentry, the High Templar. Oof. Massive pickoffs. ByuN still trading well, and here comes the main push. The main push towards the third. herO just getting torn apart. No, another Templar. Thankfully, there's a shield battery. Thankfully, there is a battery. Drop back into the main base. Remember, recall's on cooldown. And hero's just being torn apart. You cannot keep up. Not like this. Not like this. As ByuN is going to consolidate. ByuN pulls away. Once again building up. And he was just has been having a very hard time. And throughout the entire game, he has been trying to stabilize. Been trying to hold on. Scan reveals the fourth base. If you notice, no gas at the fourth and no gas at the third. It's very zealot heavy. Nice lift on the Widowmine. Okay. Does lift. Decent storm. herO making the best out of what he has. Starting back ByuN. Ghost production has begun though. And Ghost had built to deal with all things Protoss here. The Charge Lots and the High Templar. He's coming in! The EMP! Oh my god! Massive EMP. There's one storm left. One High Templar didn't get caught out. Oh, and there's Zelsa left behind. Yeah, Zelsa left behind. As hero's just trying to buy some time. Here behind this going double Robo into double Colossal production, but this does feel late. I think because it is. So I'll say push back in. Head for the third. ByuN's in position. There's a position, cleans up every single zealot. Oof, EMP once again, catching up with High Templar. And there is 0 Templar left. So 0 Templar, 0 Storms. Again, hero's being hanging in there the entire game. Doing the best he could to just hang in there, but at this point, ByuN should have enough. At this point, again, there's no Storm, there's no High Templar. My shots on the Zealots. We do have some Immortals on the way. Once again, nice EMP on the High Templar. Once again, the EMPs, they catch everything. In a moment of desperation here, he pulls the boys. The boys are doing what they can. 20 probes go down, and both Immortals as well. I think I went down to 1 Stalker. 1 Stalker left. Ah, that's the army for herO. We got this. We got. Does go for the warp in. There's the NG overcharge on High Templar. He's got 1 Storm. And this should be hero's final stand. Oof. As both Robos get depowered. Again, there's no support for the Robo army. GG gets called, and ByuN ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. Whew, GG. GG, well played. We're going all the way to game number 3. Again, it was just a very rough start. Winding it back, why was it rough? If you remember, herO did go for a 4-gate opener. He went 3 gates back at home, a 4th gateway across the map. It was hyper aggressive, borderline all in out of herO, and he got scattered. He got scattered early on, so ByuN was able to pull back in time, evacuate his natural, his low ground, muster up a defense on the high ground, and get his cyclone out, get his tank out as well, and ByuN was able to get into a much better position. Of course, the counter play and the drop play also did excel, just because of how delayed herO was when it came to any of his upgrades, any of his tech, because of the opener, because of the 4-gate, right? The 4-gate was very committed, failed to do damage, herO fell behind, herO stayed behind. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're now getting into game number 3, the ace match. We're going all the way to the ace match. You're going to be loading into Winter Madness. Finally, we take a break from these smaller maps. Game 1 was 10,000 feet. Game 2 was Ruby Relic, but now we're going to be loading into Winter Madness, one of the larger, more macro maps in the map pool. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss play area, the Red Protoss himself. Representing T1, it is herO. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran himself, representing Shopify. It is ByuN. Here we go. Here we go, as we are going to be setting up. And unlike the previous game, we don't really have as much of an aggressive setup here. ByuN is going for a standard opener. We have our single gas, racks expand, economic start out of ByuN. There's no eBay block, there's no shenanigans. Except for herO, of course, with a probe. Just being as annoying as possible. Forcing out another SCV. Once herO does regenerate his shields. Another SCV being sent out. And the players will settle in. Again, gate expand out of herO. Racks into CC out of ByuN. Oh! This probe is still very low. 4 HP probe. Cuidado, papi, cuidado. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say my mistake because we had a factory, but no, it was factory after CC. So just CC on the high ground. Very safe play out of ByuN, as he does not risk it going for a low ground expansion. So it's safe on the high ground. Does mean that it's going to be a little bit later, a little bit delayed, but safe overall. As herO hides his probe from the Reaper. Does keep the probe hidden. Reaper moves in. We're soon going to get our tech of choice. herO doesn't proxy, so no proxy Stargate or anything like that. Probe's just going in for a rescout. And we have a Twilight Council back at home. So it should be Blink. Blink base opener out of herO. I know that hero's been enamored with Charge in PvZ, that is true, and Charge is also a viable opener in this matchup as well, but if you recall, I mentioned this, I think it was in game 1 or game 2, but typically when you open up Charge, it's meant to almost like hard counter an aggressive Terran player. That's often seen on smaller maps. Don't really love the idea of doing that here in Winter Madness. As there it is, Blink is on the way. Now the question becomes how many gateways? We have one gateway in the main, we have, two gateways in the main base, so 2 gate Blink currently. I say 2, that's a 3rd gateway, and do we throw in a 4th? Hello, probe. What's going on? 3 gate Blink into a Robo. A little bit more committed here on 2 bases. And with that, herO is going to be fighting for map control. He's going to be fighting for control, taking another gas geyser. Again, this is all delaying the 3rd base of herO, bear that in mind. herO could have been more greedy, could have been more economic, but he's opting not to. And we'll see if ByuN can keep up. So Reaper distracts, drop into the natural. Drop moves in, we'll get some probe kills, gets 1. Guess 2. 2 probes go down. As herO did accidentally pull back into the army. Pulled back in. ByuN going for his 1-1-1. After the drop is going for Ravens. Likewise, only a singular tank so far. ByuN failed to get into the main base. That's the scariest thing. ByuN doesn't know how many gateways there are. It could be 2 gate or it could be 3. Or even 4. Ooh, as a medevac up. Oh, my barely gets away. Whew. Calm down, Bobby, calm down. Barely pulls out. Here comes the War Prism, getting into Charge as well, still on 2 bases. The 3rd base is very late here for herO, but he should be expanding. Should be. There it is. 3rd base is on the way. The Reaper does confirm, so ByuN confirms there's no 2 base all in. But still very committed play here by herO. ByuN knows that. Ooh. herO did spot the War Prism. Back at home, he's got his bunker, he's got his tanks, not bad. Oh, it does focus down 5 extra workers. Very nice damage here by ByuN. Gets 5 more probes. And the pressure's now on herO. Now this main base is large enough where you can just avoid the tank fire. The tank is in position at the ramp, but the stim is exposed, and stim is going to be denied. Massive pickoff here. Stim goes down, and now going for the reactor on the starport. Ooh, Blinks on top of the tank, and 1 more volley. Tank goes down as well. So, tech lab, a reactor, tank, and a couple of marines. Nice control by herO. Blinks away. herO losing 7 probes across the map due to the harass. Meanwhile, losing only 1 stalker, and he's not done. He rotates over. Tank is a little bit further back. Does get focused down. Yeah, tank goes down. ByuN out of position. Thankfully, though, that bunker will survive. Keeps the bunker alive. Snap on the observer. herO diving back in. Dives back in. That tank is a little bit late to siege. At the same time, the Raven harass here has been very annoying. 8 more probes. I mean, it has been quite successful, actually. Once again, herO, he wants those add-ons. He gets them. Yeah, still no stim. Still no tech lab on the racks. Ay, ay, ay. And ByuN is contained, right? Technically, ByuN is surviving the aggression, that is true, but because of the lack of stim, like, he can't move out. ByuN is stuck at home. He's stuck at home, and yes, herO's been losing pros, but he's free to remake them. He's reprobing. He's resaturating. Now working towards Storm. Simple archives on the way. It has been a bit of a messy game, that is true. Just because herO's been losing so many probes. In total, has lost 19 probes back at home. It's a lot of probes going down. Oh. He's going straight for the tank. he just walks past the Marines. Gets a tank, tank goes down, Marines are getting bullied, and why is this happening? Because there's no stim. Like, the Marines, they just cannot keep up. They cannot keep up. Combat shields is denied. Boys are being pulled into Mass Stalker. Another tank does siege up. Her stim is almost halfway done. It's gonna be like a 9-minute stim timing. Observer gets caught out. Observer gets caught. Now there's 4 Marauders, so now there is a punish. The Marauders can punish Stalkers if they go in. As they pick off more add-ons. But at least Stim is safe, right? Like, Stim is safe. ByuN is able to hang in there. herO, meanwhile, getting a 4th base. Meanwhile, I mean, remember, ByuN is still on 2 bases. herO's getting a 4th. Storm has begun. And with Stim finishing, finally ByuN can be active. But even then, he's split out so much army. Speaking of herO, he wants that 2nd depot. He gets it. 2 depots go down. ByuN just wants a 3rd base. He just wants to play some StarCraft. But again, finally with Stim, now we can break out, now we can expand, and ByuN can look towards a longer game, towards the mid game. I believe the academy is complete. Yep, he's at the academy. Can build up into some ghosts. herO blinking into the main, bypassing ByuN. Oh no, combat shield! He gets combat shields. Oh my god. Denies combat shields, denies concussive shell as well. Stim may have completed, but the upgrades, he just can't get them. He just wants to get his upgrades back. Oh no. And hero's going in for the kill. The tanks are exposed. He's going straight for the tanks. There's 2 tanks are on the road. Massive storm in the bio. Storm connects. Both tanks fall. Oof. Another storm grazing the army. Nice denial of the warp-in. Warp-in is denied, but there's too much Protoss. There's just too much Protoss here. The boys are being pulled. Another storm. GG gets called, and herO will take the series 2-1, being the first player to advance out of the group stage into the playoffs. GG. Whew, GG, well played. herO able to claim the series 2-1. Again, herO, he did go 3-gate blink. He went 3-gate robo into blink on 2 bases. He went for a much more aggressive build, was able to go for the counterattack. ByuN was in the dark, he was unaware. Not just that though, ByuN, he did have his tanks in position, he did have his bunker on the low ground, but we spoke about it, Winter Madness, the main base is large enough where you could blink into the main and avoid that tank anyway. So we saw that herO was able to abuse the size of the map, ByuN was out of position, and we saw add-ons going down time and time again. Heavy delay on Stim, heavy delay on Stim, heavy delay on all the add-ons. Tanks were being sniped time and time again as they attempted to reposition because the Stalkers were getting out of control, and ByuN was just stuck at home. It took him, again, he got Stim at like 9 minutes, like 9-minute Stim timing, which is crazy late. And even then, he couldn't even finish combat shields. Like, he just couldn't get any upgrades. His main base was so compromised, was so exposed. GG. GG, well played. herO able to abuse that and abuse ByuN. And with that, congratulations. herO is the first player to make it through into the playoffs. Meanwhile, if you're a fan of ByuN, do not worry, do not fret, because ByuN has one more chance. He has one more chance to make it through it is going to be a rematch. If you remember, it's going to be a rematch here of the first series of the broadcast. It is going to be ByuN versus Trigger. That's how we began the night, and it's how we're going to be ending the broadcast as well. Oh boy. ByuN versus Trigger, TVP best of 3. If you remember, in the first series, in the first match of the broadcast, ByuN did defeat Trigger 2-0. We'll see if he can do it again. We'll see if Trigger has warmed up and can get his revenge. Remember, Trigger did defeat Clem recently, so Trigger, he has it in him to bring it to ByuN. It just comes down to his current form and how he's feeling on the day. Oh boy. Here we go. Yo, este mío in the chat. God, baby, God. Good to see you, baby. Good to see you. It's been years. When was the last time we saw Mio in the chat? 2022. It's been almost 4 years. 4 years back. Oh my god, good to see you. If you're still there, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. I know you spent some time. For those who don't know, Micah Cat is Mia Micah, the infamous King of the Sea, best player in Southeast Asia, and for a time best player in Oceania as well. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I know that Mio did switch to Age of Empires for a little bit. I don't know if you're still playing Age of Empires, but hope you're doing well. Este Mio. Crazy, crazy. But here we go, we're getting into our fresh series, the final series of the broadcast. One slot left, one spot available here in the playoffs. We'll see who makes it through out of Group A. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Canadian Protoss player, we have the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player, the red Terran for Shopify. It is ByuN. Here we go. Here we go. The final series, the final broadcast, the decider match. That's the final broadcast, the final series of the broadcast. This is the decider match. It all ends here. It all ends between Trigger and ByuN. There's only one spot left to get out of Group A, and ByuN already did defeat Trigger earlier in the group. Earlier in the broadcast. We'll see if Trigger can recover, can bounce back. I feel like Trigger was a little bit lackluster in that first series. That we know that he does have it in him to take it to ByuN, but the pressure is on. Pressure is on. For now, welcome once again to Winter Madness. As we mentioned previously, Winter Madness is one of the larger maps in the map pool. You have a longer rush distance by ground, you have a little more breathing room, and there's a higher chance that Trigger can get into the mid game. We saw that Showtime. We saw that herO was able to place a lot of pressure on ByuN and contain ByuN excessively on 2 bases. We'll see if Trigger can do the same. ByuN going for the eBay block, late scout by Trigger. Oof, late scout, late realization. Trigger is forced into the unnatural natural. Basically, this probe on the low ground was too late, so there was too much progression, too much health, too much HP on that eBay, so Trigger could not force a cancel, so he's forced to expand at a more exposed, a much more vulnerable location, and ByuN can abuse this. ByuN, he could choose to abuse this, but no, he's going for the CC. So ByuN could have made the decision to go for a reactor into factory before expanding into reactor Hellion, but he chooses instead to go for the CC on the high ground, so we have an economic safe follow-up out of ByuN. It means that Trigger is going to be left alone, but it's still going to be an awkward kind of setup here for Trigger. Still going to be awkward. The probe is found. Trigger, who was hoping to hide it, but it does get caught up by the Reaper. And Trigger, he saw there was no low ground CC. For all he knows, it could be a factory up here or a high ground CC instead. And Trigger's in the dark. Nice shade, nice positioning. As Trigger is going for his Twilight Council. We have his tech of choice. Likewise, ByuN going for his own 1-1-1 into Widowmine drop. Oh. Reaper is zoned away. And the Adept scouts the CC. So Trigger, at least he's aware that it was a faster command center. He's aware there was an economic opener. It's an economic follow-up. Confirms confirms the Marines, no Reapers. And of course, spots the CC landing. Behind this, how many gateways? We have 2 gates in the main, so 2 gate blink so far. We're expecting a 3rd Nexus. Remember, last game we had herO going 3 gate blink into a more aggressive follow-up. We're not seeing that out of Trigger. Oh, my apologies. I have to eat my words as we have how many gateways? 3 gates in the main. So Trigger is being more aggressive. He also spots the medevac. Trigger, he sees, he knows. As Trigger fans out, trying to catch the Marines. Marines? Medevac, I meant to say. Good. Did not get much sleep. Does force the unload. Very nice catch here by Trigger. At the same time, a Reaper attempted to dive into the main. He shut down. And Trigger defends well. He defends well. Against a mine drop, you usually expect to lose 1 worker per widow mine, but ByuN never got to the bases. He never got to the bases. More importantly, ByuN also never scouted. He didn't see how many gateways that were in the main base. Didn't see the robo. ByuN sees nothing. As it looks like Trigger was just playing safe. He was just playing safe. Trigger now taking his 3rd base. His Stalker's mainly being used to defend, not to attack. This Trigger's trying to keep up. Oh, nice catch. Trigger catching out a widow mine. Once again, containing ByuN. But unlike herO, Trigger, he isn't blinking into the bases, right? He isn't blinking into the main base or into the natural. So ByuN can freely get into his upgrades. Stim is on the way, combat shields. Unlike against herO, these upgrades will finish up in time. They'll be able to finish up. And Trigger, instead of going to Storm, is going into Colossus. So Colossus production on the horizon. Again, we're building up into the mid-game. The Trigger would soon be getting a 4th base. Assuming ByuN will expand. Observer gets caught. Only 1 eBay. ByuN could commit with this. He's got his 2 tanks. Stim is about to finish. ByuN moves out. That does buy some time. Again, I'm curious to see if ByuN pulls the boys. He could. Ah, CC on location, so no 2 base all in, but a much later 3rd base for ByuN. Much later expansion. ByuN pushes out. Trigger, he responds. He's got his first Colossus already. And Trigger, he wants those tanks. Oh no! But does focus on the medevac. First tank goes down as well. Massive pick of. Gets one, gets both tanks. Nice split towards the end. And that was not worth it for ByuN. ByuN losing the Raven, the medevac, 2 tanks, all of his widow mines as well. And ByuN is in trouble. Oof. ByuN forces them away. And again, ByuN caught with his pants down. Trigger's overextending. There's no need. There's no need to push in. Trigger, calm down. The army is toughened up. Trigger, he's going for it. So late. Can he force a cancel? No shot. No shot. Yeah, better engage you as the Colossus does not kite back. Colossus goes down and ByuN holds. ByuN does hold on there. Trigger again, he had a bit of miscontrol, did not pull away with the Colossus. But now the second Colossus has arrived. And Trigger, can he get on top of that CC? The CC does complete. He cannot cancel. But he wants to kill. I won't quite get it. Shouldn't quite get it. Again, Trigger's getting his 4th base. Once again, reinforcing. The lack of Widowmines, lack of tanks, I believe Trigger can break this expansion. I don't think there's enough bio here to just to defend. Trigger, he sees the setup. Here come the Warpins. Yeah, there's no SimCity. The boys are being pulled into the Colossi. Nicely got a Trigger. Does swing forward. Picks off all the SCVs. Oof. Even catching a medevac. Colossus pulled away. Again, better trade for Trigger. 14 SCVs go down. The juggling is there. Let's go. And remember, this is all just snowballing out of control because of ByuN's push. Remember, ByuN, he moved out, he got caught unsieged. And it was in that moment that everything swung in favor of Trigger. When ByuN lost 2 tanks, the Raven and the medevac. Pushing into 2 tanks here would be so much more difficult for the Protoss, but, I mean, doesn't have to worry about that anymore. They were the first things to go down. And Trigger's playing with fire. Cannot lose the Colossus. Vikings looking for a way in. Getting 10 more CVs. You see the dance between the Stalkers and the Vikings. EMP does push. Oh, Ghost pushes forward. Nice EMP. He lands. And Trigger backs off. Yeah, Trigger, he respects the Ghost. He pulls away. He wants none of it. So Trigger, he is about to max. And he's up to how many Colossus? 4. 4 Colossus back. That's a lot of lasers. Meanwhile, how many Vikings? Only 4? Oh, good. The Viking production has not been continuing here. So very low Viking count for ByuN. There's 1 Viking for each Colossus. That is not good enough. That is a heavy Marauder count though. Colossus, they move forward. Some Zealots, they peel off into the natural. Vikings being targeted down. He gets 1. He gets 2. And picks off 2, 3 Vikings. There's 3 Vikings left. Sure, he has to back off though. He's running out of Zealots. Running out of charge. Lots of Colossus are getting low, but GG gets called as ByuN is overwhelmed, and Trigger, he will take game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Trigger, he does take a lead in the series. Again, ByuN, alas, unfortunately, he just had a very, very hard move out. If you remember, ByuN, he was able to get into Stim at a nice time, into his initial upgrades, +1, combat shields, and then ByuN decided to push out. He decided to move out. He was spotted by Trigger, of course, and Trigger was able to collapse on ByuN unsieged. ByuN, he lost 2 tanks, lost the Raven, lost the medevac, almost for nothing. And as soon as that happened, ByuN was contained. Trigger, he was able to delay the 3rd base, keep warping in, keep pushing, and was unable to just allow ByuN to breathe. ByuN couldn't breathe, he couldn't stabilize. GG. GG, well played. And with that, Trigger takes the lead. Now we're getting into game number 2. You said 4 hallucinations to avoid the mine. kind of. For those who are unaware, whenever you hallucinate a worker, specifically a probe, or I guess a worker, if you hallucinate a probe, then 4 hallucinations spawn in. That is also why hallucinating probes is really good for scouting, because with 1 hallucination you can get 4 workers that can fan out in 4 different directions and scout for proxies. The downside is that workers they're limited to terrain, whereas a hallucination oracle or phoenix scout doesn't care about terrain. So technically a phoenix will scout faster, like as they do like a rotation, for example. But if you're looking for proxies, then that's when probes or hallucinated workers work better, because you can like fan out in multiple directions. If you're referring to that Wooden Mine shot, Trigger, he did hallucinate a worker to tank the shot, but again, 4 probes like spawned in, so it was a little bit more awkward there. Bit more awkward. Like, technically, if ByuN was paying attention, he could have actually punished Trigger and retargeted. Because there were 4 hallucinations, he could, like, ByuN could have just retargeted to 4 different workers if he had known that it was hallucination. That's the other thing, right? Because it was 4 hallucinated workers, it's possible that ByuN didn't retarget because he believed they were real. And so there's like a higher chance you bait out the mine shot, right? The mine games. But spawning in the upper hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Canadian Protoss. We have the blue Protoss for Basilisk. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player. Sorry, the red Terran player from South Korea for Shopify. Down in the series, we'll see if you can bounce back. It is a ByuN. Oh, as the probe is unable to block the expansion. I think I want to say delays for like maybe a second or two, but ByuN does go for a more economic start. Racks expand. Racks expand on the low grounds. But again, I do wonder if the hallucinated worker response was intentional for Trigger, just because it's so juicy, like for an opponent to see all 4 probes, and if they didn't see the initial hallucination, to let the mine shot go off. Regardless, you have ByuN scanning for proxies. Does move out, does check. And again, welcome to 10,000 feet. We brought this up earlier, but 10,000 feet is a much more aggressive map. Usually I do favor Terran players in this, just because the likelihood of the Terran player moving out and actually successfully getting across the map unimpeded is much higher on these smaller maps. The Protoss player has less time to engage, less time to respond, less time to warp in. Ooh, as nice pick up here, the SCV goes down. Trigger, he does delay the expansion, punishing ByuN's low ground. Trigger does pull away. Second adept has arrived. Will not delay the CC any further. But hey, he gets Marine. Gets Marine, gets 2 Marines actually, 2 Marines and an SCV. Not the worst trade. Assuming Trigger gets away. And he does. Trigger does pull away. At the same time, behind this, we have a Twilight Council into Blink. How many gateways? We have 1 gateway in the main base. We have 1 gateway on the natural. 2 gate blinks so far. And we'll see if Trigger goes for a faster expansion. He does not. Oh my god. That's a lot of gateways. As he throws down 2 more, the 4 gate blink, hyper aggression out of Trigger. Okay. I'm not too fond of this on 10,000 feet. If you remember, we've spoken about this before, but specifically on this map, rotating from the entrance into the main base, this is the blink path, the blink entrance into the main, and the natural, you can see how far away it is. Like the distance between this entrance in the main and the natural is so long. One of the advantages, one of the scary things about 4 gate blink is rotating, right? Is to be your ability to be mobile and rotate, bam, main base, bam, natural, back and forth, and the Terran player having a hard time keeping up with your rotations. Here, specifically on 10,000 feet, it is easier to keep up with rotations just because it's harder. It takes longer for the Protoss player to go back and forth. So I'm not too fond of it. The drop into the main base reveals 3 gateways. ByuN, he's somewhat aware. He sees 3 gates in the main. He's aware of just at least some of the gate counts. And nice delay. Focusing down 5 probes. Oh my god! 5, 6 probes going down. Nice damage here by ByuN. At the same time, Hellion pokes in. Hellion scouts the 4th gateway, he knows. He sees every single gateway. Back it up. We have a bunker on the way. Tanks are getting in position. ByuN is getting ready. His trigger's coming. Here come the Stalkers. Here comes the War Prism. ByuN is aware. His tank is set up on the low ground. His main base is more exposed. And Trigger's going for the main. Oh, wait, is he? Wait, what's... okay, going for a split push. He's going for the split push. We have the main army here towards the natural. We have 4 Stalkers into the main. Marines are in position. At the same time, Trigger, he does try to get into the mineral line. ByuN, he responds well. Oh, the Prism! Yeah, the Viking pops out. The Prism is going to go down. Massive pickup. Oh my god. Yeah, Prism goes down alongside two of the Stalkers, and that means no high ground vision. Trigger, he cannot see the main. And ByuN holds. ByuN does hold on. He now focus on the natural. Now, on the one hand, ByuN did lose 7 SCVs. That is true. He lost 7 workers here at the same time across the map. The Raven Harass kills 2 probes. And remember that Trigger's third base is late. Remember, this is a late third base for Trigger. Why is it late? It's because he got an extra gateway, because he warped in more Stalkers. Right? This was a hyper-aggressive build from Trigger, and he was hoping for more damage. He failed to do so. That is why the supply is in favor of ByuN. There is a supply disparity here. ByuN is ahead. Trigger needs to do more damage. Oof. Even here, unable to get the SCV. Trigger, he rotates. The Observer is headed. Oh no! The Observer gets spotted, which means no high ground vision. Trigger cannot get into the main base. And the opener of Trigger has fallen on its face. He's fallen on his face here. It's been a very, very rocky start for Trigger. Behind this, going for the Bay, going for Colossus. More mining's being denied. Now, ByuN, he currently has a 3-rack setup here. When he pushes, he could expand like last game and get a 3rd CC, or he could just double down and pull the boys. I'm curious to see which is it's going to be. Which is going to be here. Observer gets sniped, which means Trigger cannot see what's going on. +1 is going to finish later, so it looks like ByuN should expand. As ByuN, he does want to punish, forcing the recall. There's that CC. It's going to be on location. And this pushing. The tumors have expired. What do we have to defend? We have the Colossus in position. Trigger, he's mainly in position at his 3rd base. Meanwhile, ByuN is pushing towards the natural. Trigger keeps up, but again, the supply just isn't quite there. Okay, nice spread. Nice spread here by ByuN. But the tanks are too far back. He has to push forward. I believe these tanks are within range of the Robo. Oh no! Yeah, the Robo's exposed. It's gonna force Trigger's hand. Trigger, he has to engage. Oh, as the Raven attempts to go for the armor shred. Nice split there by Trigger. And nice split as Zeltic collapse in. Tanks stay focused on the Colossus. And the Colossus, one more volley. The Colossus does go down, but not enough fire. Yeah, not enough Marines, not enough Marauders. With that Trigger, he will clean this up. And can he keep going? Again, that was a clutch fight, but in the end, ByuN, he just could not maintain his army. And Trigger, he might just keep going. No shot. Yeah, he could just keep pushing here. Up the control. The Marauders being focused down. This base is going to be cancelled. Massive pickoff, and ByuN's in trouble. He's in trouble, Vappy. The Colossus has arrived. There's a cancellation. It was almost done as well. And ByuN is hurting. He's stuck here on 2 bases. He is hurting. He's going for a 2nd starport. Trigger's getting a 4th base while ByuN just now begins his 3rd. And again, that fight could have gone so much differently here if the Raven shred, if the armor shred had actually connected. True. But at the same time, maybe ByuN was also tunnel visioning a little bit too much on the Colossus themselves. And sure, he got them, but it wasn't quite worth it. And with that, Trigger's just getting further ahead. Establishing his 4th base. He is staying on a very low gas count. You can see here only 1 gas at the natural, no gas at the 3rd or the 4th. So very heavily reliant on Zealots. Once he takes more gases, then he can afford, say, a 2nd Robo. Working towards Disruptors. Or Storm. Now though, Trigger just focusing on the main army. And based on the setup that we have here, Trigger should never allow ByuN to expand. ByuN doesn't even have the academy. The academy is still in the way. No ghosts, no EMPs. The Viking count is looking decent. He's got 6 Vikings. Remember, he has 2 starports. So he's got a decent Viking count. You can see ByuN getting in position to expand. And Trigger needs to stop this. Takes off one of the mines. We have a sea of zealots moving in. Now, is there going to be an EP available? There is. Okay, there is going to be. There's 3. There's 3 ghosts. There's a scan. Trigger, he rotates to the left-hand side. There is 1 Widow Mine here in position. Never mind. Does on burrow. Trigger, he's getting a 5th. He's maxing out. And Trigger is maxing. Oh. EMPs, they raise the army. Vikings, they go to town with the Colossus. Can they get 1? Oh, he can. 1 Colossus goes down. He gets 1. He gets 2. But no control there. It takes down 2 of the Colossus. Now going for the 3rd one as well. Zealots getting choked up. Nice kiting here from ByuN. And nice kiting as the Vikings. They just annihilate everything in the sky. And ByuN holds. And ByuN holds on. There was just not enough anti-air here. Not enough anti-air, not enough stalkers. The Vikings just had free reign on 3 Colossus. Oof. Trigger misrallying. And again, that was a very strong fight for ByuN. That should have otherwise ended the game. But not enough stalkers. Too many zealots. And again, the prison was too far back, so there was no micro, there was no control saving the Colossus. Trigger is back for round 2. He attempts to surround. We get an OK force field catching up the ghosts, catching up some marauders. So I'll say do peel off into the mineral line. The Colossus is on A move. And Zealots are trading well. Yeah, they're trading well for themselves. At the same time, Trigger does not have enough. Yeah, there's just not enough here. The Colossus. Colossus force back. Stalker's getting caught out as well. Very nice engage here by ByuN. And Trigger's just been too wasteful. He's just been too wasteful here. And again, too heavily reliant on those zealots. He never took any extra gases. Never took extra gases here. Very all in from Trigger. And ByuN snowballing out of control. He's snowballing out of control. Catching out more probes. ByuN is now ahead. He's out economically, but ByuN has a massive army. An army that currently cannot be dealt with. Now, there are storms available, true. So with a couple of well-placed storms and Disruptor and Purification Overs, Trigger can pull this off. His first storm, nice. Yeah, nice first storm. Colossus goes down once again. But that kind of momentum and map control that Trigger once had, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. Trigger now down to 4 bases. Down to 63 probes. Does graze the army. Trigger setting up for the run by. Attempts to set up for the run by. And once again, Trigger, he's maxing out, but this is a very subpar army. He has Storms and a Disruptor. Like, again, there's always potential with Storm and Disruptors, but Trigger is heavily reliant on that. The Novas have to land. If they land, then Trigger can win the fight. You can win the fight, you can end the game. Trigger moves in, first Nova zones. No major connection. Snipe goes off. Ooh, doesn't quite connect. Trigger, he breaks the snipe. Breaks the lock on. See Trigger getting ready for a Zealot run by. Trigger's maxed, and the longer this game goes on without Trigger doing anything with this maxed out army, ByuN is getting further ahead. ByuN's army is more efficient. Like, it's just a better army. It is higher quality. So the soup does lie. The soup is lying. That's a lot of zealots. Mass EMP on the charge lots. Both Novas go off. Now the Novas are on cooldown. Only Storm remaining. Just the Storms. Disruptors have recharged. He's got up to 3 Disruptors. Let's Trigger does catch a couple of ghosts, okay. Oh no, high Templar! Ooh, losing 3! 3 high Templar go down, massive pickoff. Yeah, misrally, miscontrol there by Trigger. Nova goes off, nice splits out of ByuN. Yeah, a couple of Novas graze the army, but overall a better trade for the Terran. At the same time, a Zealot run by is attempted. Attempts the run by. ByuN is keeping up. Oh! Trigger does get a ghost. Ghost goes down. 13 SCVs as well. He's getting into the mineral line. Okay. Trigger, he does get some damage. But the main army fights go in favor of ByuN. Yeah, ByuN's main army is still superior. We lose 14 SCVs. ByuN down to 41 SCVs. ByuN doesn't really have much of an economy, but again, it's the army that's terrifying. It's 2 Disruptors and 3 High Templar. The Templar just got warped in. Trigger trying to come in from behind. Once again, nice kiting here by ByuN. Oh, never goes off. Ooh, much better connection. I want to say the best connection we've had so far. Catching out some of the ghosts. But again, Trigger is still just struggling here. Doesn't really have the economy. It's on 65 probes. Slims in. Gets a Disruptor. Oh my god, massive EMPs on the main army. Vikings, they just chase down the Colossus. He gets 1. Yeah, the Vikings, they just chase down. But only gets the 1 Colossus. Wasn't quite worth it. ByuN is down to 2 Vikings. He's down to 2, but ByuN does take down the high ground expansion. Trigger being bullied back. And again, Trigger, he has no bank. He has no bank. He cannot max out. He cannot remax after the fight, which is meant to be his advantage. There it goes off. One's a good connection. But the 1 Nova is not good enough. The Ghosts, they just tank it. They tank the Nova, and with that, ByuN, he has done it. He will take the fight. He just shuts down the main army. No more Colossus, Disruptors. There's 2 High Templar left. Trigger trying to go for the Zealot Rama, gets spotted by the tower. And Trigger, he plummets in supply. As we mentioned, the soup was lying. The supplies were deceptively close when really it was heavily in favor of ByuN. Just comes down to the quality of the composition. And again, Trigger, he was so close to winning this game. Like, Trigger, he was so far ahead earlier. When ByuN was on 2 bases and Trigger was getting a 4th, like, that was a big moment for Trigger, but he never took his gases. Or I say never took it. It took so long to take gases. It took so long to tech up. When we saw that secondary fight, we saw that Trigger was just too heavily reliant on Zealots. He lost all the Colossus immediately, and Trigger, he lost map control. He lost it then and there. Lost control of the game. GG gets called, and ByuN, he ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We're going all the way to game 3. Again, Trigger, he almost won this game. It was almost a 2-0. Trigger, he was ahead. He was up 2 bases. He was almost maxed out. But again, he was staying on 3 gases for far too long. He chose to remax on Mass Zealots, which means he couldn't protect his Colossus. Did not have enough anti-air. The Colossus, they went down instantly to the Vikings, and the Zealots could not engage because of the Sim City of ByuN. GG. GG, well played. After that defense, ByuN, he just slowly got further and further ahead, was able to build up on his 3 bases and just outscale. Just outscale. And with that, we're going all the way to the ace match. We're going to be loading into White Rabbit for the first time tonight, for the first time in this broadcast, the final game of the series and of the broadcast as well. Let's go. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss for Basilisk being forced into game 3. Can he bring it back? It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran for Shopify. It is ByuN. Un momento. Okay, we're back. Okay, we are back. Oh my god! As we are going to be opening up, my apologies. As we have for the first time this series, I believe, double gas opener out of ByuN. Meanwhile, Trigger going for a standard opener himself. The probe scout is here, and we'll see if Trigger gets further in as he gets locked into the main. Trigger will have the option to recall to save the probe, but it's too low. Yeah, the probe has taken too many hits. He does go in for the further scouts, gets eyes on one gas, and gets eyes on the other. Okay, so Trigger, he gets a full scout, but he will lose the worker as the Reaper is on the way. Still being annoying. Still being annoying. Probe will fall. And from here, sorry, with a double gas opener, this means that the factory is going to be faster. It means that the the CC is going to be delayed. And from here, we can go into what is a more tech-heavy start. So we'll see how aggressive or where ByuN takes us. Pilot console opener out of Trigger. We have ByuN going for the reactor into potentially add-on swap. No, okay, going for the Widow Mine drop instead. Setting up for the mine drop. Trigger building up to blink. Also, welcome to White Rabbits. I didn't really get to discuss it, my apologies, but White Rabbit is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground. I will say one of the big features of this map is not just how large it is, but how much distance there is between your own bases. Specifically, the triangular third base and the linear third. These bases are very, very spread out. We've seen many players struggle to keep up with aggressive rotations and struggle to defend their initial 4 bases. Because of that, we have seen some players, especially Terran players, expand forward towards their opponents, towards the center base. to be able to expand behind that center base and set up on 4 bases a little bit easier. So we have seen that. Meanwhile, extra gateways are being thrown down. 3-gate blink. Trigger, he did see the CC on the high ground, hasn't seen much else. He's aware of the add-ons at least. He's aware of the reactor marine. And the drop is coming. Yeah, 3 Widow Mines across the map. Trigger, he doesn't spot the drop. It's outside of the natural. He's got a spotter pylon. He's got a stalker here and patrol in the main, sorry, in the natural. Spotter pylons here in the main base. Oh, buenos dias, patos. Buenos dias, buenos dias. Bienvenidos. As the mine jump does come in, but Trigger's in position. Yeah, Trigger's ready. Base out the shots. So far, nice defense. So far, so good. Oh. Drop back into the natural. Drops 1 more Widow Mine into the natural base and gets 1 probe. No, nice retargeting. Ooh, doesn't get any workers though. Trigger, he does react in time, does pull away, and he will lose 2 probes in the main. And not ideal, but he does snipe the medevac. Medevac goes down and cleans up all the Widow Mines in the end. And it was a better trade for Trigger. I would have said better for ByuN if he had saved the medevac. But the medevac did go down. Trigger counterattacks back at home. Tanks are getting in position. There's 1 tank in the natural bunker as well as a tank that's about to pop out in the main base. Decent Sim City. ByuN has the tools to defend. Oh, that's a lot of stalkers though. Remember, it was 3-gate blink. Late third, late expansion, extra stalkers, extra gateways. Going for the bunker. Does miss a volley though. They shed into the mineral line. Bunker should go down, barely does. Bunker falls at the same time. Auto harass across the map, getting 3 probes. Trigger, he reacts decently enough. Oh, it's a kill. Kill auto cancel. Blinks into the tank. Tank goes down, but the Marines do punish. That was so far a better trade for Trigger. Gets a tank, gets a bunker at the same time. The auto turrets, they get 3 more probes, 6 in total. And ByuN holds. Yeah, ByuN, he does hold on. He's still got 2 tanks in position. Blinks into the main. Tank is waiting for him. Oh, can we get on top of Stim though? Stim, oh god, that was not worth it. Not worth it. We saw that Trigger, he tried to wedge himself in the corner here, but the tank was still within range. Trigger is punished. It's 5 stalkers going down. Oh, Trigger, he rallies into the tank. He gets punished for that as well. Stalkers get picked off here, and Trigger is losing too much. He's bleeding out far too much. 7 stalkers falling. Again, these stalkers are meant to build up over time. This is a little bit better for Trigger. He does pick up a handful of Marines. A better trade for Trigger, better control. The bunker was not rebuilt. Oh, Trigger, does he see an opening? Yeah, both tanks are here towards the natural. The Raven continues to harass. Trigger, he sees an opening into the main base. He can go for the add-ons. He's going for the tank. Not quite. Trigger is zoned away. Never mind, I didn't see that tank further back, so there's the tank in position. ByuN is fine. ByuN now getting a 3rd CC. And after a very intense early game, we're slowing things down. Trigger taking up into charge. Meanwhile, ByuN building up into 3 bases. After all said and done, I feel like I prefer ByuN's position. I know, Trigger, he was very wasteful. He was very, very wasteful. Towards the end, he had some better trades, and now finally he gets a tank. He gets it. Tank goes down, a couple of SCVs as well. Just the one. So because they pick in, they don't quite get the forward tank. Again, sniping these tanks is important just because there's no more tanks, right? There's no tech lab on the factory. There's no more tank production. There's only 2 tanks left. What you see is what you get. So if they go down early, it does mean that the Terran player is going to be that much weaker defensively back at home. There would be an opening. So we get spotted. The Academy on the way for Ghosts. Force a blink away. Forcing a fight in the open. Hey, baits ByuN out. Forcing out the stem. Meanwhile, that Raven, that auto harass continues. And Trigger, he commits in. Oh no! Yeah, Trigger, he miscontrols. The Prism goes down. Zealots go down as well. Trigger throwing away a chunk of supply. Does get into the main base for some damage at least. But it feels like miscontrol at a Trigger. It feels like he just went in a little bit too soon. Trigger, he was premature. That Raven is still out there. That Raven has 16 kills on the Raven. Ay, ay, ay. The MVP Raven, baby. He's not done, by the way. It's full HP Raven. Just keeps going in, killing 3, 4, 5 SCVs, sorry, 5 probes at a time. Speaking of, Raven's back. Gets 2 more probes. As those 2 tanks, they move forward. ByuN, he establishes his 3rd base, and you can see that Trigger, he's looking for an opening. But you can see that ByuN's just turtling up. We have depots, we have widow mines, sensor towers as well. There is an opening here on the right-hand side, true. Trigger, he finds a way in. Better concave for Trigger. Zealots, they peel off into the mineral line, and SCVs are going down. Not many, though. Yeah, Zealots are on A move. Only gets 2 SCVs. Now does try to focus fire, but only 4. Only 4 SCVs go down. Trigger jumping into the main. Essentially, as you're seeing here, Trigger's doing everything he can to try to find a weakness in the defenses of ByuN before ByuN maxes out. Like, the win condition for ByuN is just turtle. Just turtle until maxed. And then ByuN's almost there. He's almost maxed out. Remember that ByuN is working on a superior composition of Viking, Ghost, Marauder, Bio. ByuN just has to survive at the same time. Prism into the main. Prism gets in. SCVs are finally going down. Massive warp into the main base as well. Okay. Trigger, he is finding some damage here. Getting 6 SCVs, a gas geyser, a couple of depots. Tanks exposed, gets 1. 1 tank left. Oof. There's 1 tank remaining. 10, 11 SCVs. Not bad. That Raven is still finding more damage, by the way. 21 kills, 22. God. That Raven's crazy. 23 kills on the Raven. Still full HP, by the way. And it's not like it came back home to be repaired. Like, no, it's just been chilling. It's free damage. As ByuN breaks out. He breaks out. He's got 5 ghosts. Down to 7 Vikings. Does get the first Colossus. First Colossus goes down. Trigger has to respect it. ByuN just now getting his 2nd starport, a little bit late. 2nd starport's on the way. The Raven finds more damage. Ah. Can we get up to 30 SCV, sorry, 30 probe kills? Can he get 30 probes? Ooh. Never goes off. Decent connection. So stopping up some of the ghosts. The other Novas are lackluster. Raven is still active. Nice little run by. Does distract ByuN. Yo, we have a flanking disruptor. Okay. Cheeky moves out of trigger. Never goes off. Ooh, does connect. Yeah, massive connection here as trigger. He's baiting the army further in. And he has that flanking disruptor. Telewarpins into the main base. Oh, we can use it, Pappy. No, we can use it. Never mind. Yeah, trigger focusing on the drop. Does get another warp in. Another warp in does finish. More zealots into the mineral line. More CVs are going down. Nice harass here by Trigger. He harasses well, but what about the main fight? As that's going to be 21 SCV kills. Ay, ay, ay. The Raven is still out there. That might have been an F2, which is why the Raven went back home, but now moving back out. Again, that Raven has 25 kills. Can we get 30? 30 kills. Again, there's no shield battery here. There's no cannon. There's no static defense. Sure, units in. Nova does clip the army. Nothing major. Prism is zoned away. That was a clashing. Oh my god, just mass Novas. Some of them do connect, but Trigger happy there from Trigger, panicking a little bit. Okay, Novas are connecting though. Some decent Novas, and Trigger, does he have enough? Vikings are landing. Not enough zealots. Yeah, not enough zealots here, not enough buyers, sorry, not enough support. Never mind the Stalkers are barely breaking through. Colossus comes into support as well. Okay. Trigger, he's doing it. There are the zealots. Oh, they came in. I think they were harassing at the natural, but okay. Zealots, they come into support, and Trigger, he takes the fight. Does take the fight. Viking count gets completely reset. No more Vikings. Which means Colossus can excel. Yeah, 0 Vikings left. Most of the Marauders, most of the Ghosts all went down. It's down to 1 Disruptor though. Did lose all of his Disruptors. But Trigger is at least containing ByuN. Meanwhile, Trigger getting a 5th. His 5th base is getting up. There is a little bit of a lull here. So we had some DT harass. Is that Raven still alive? No, the Raven went down. Oh no. I don't think got 30 kills. The poor Raven. Did so much for ByuN. And maybe that's a sign of things to come, because Trigger's almost maxed. Trigger is almost maxed out, and without the Raven, what can ByuN do? True. This Raven's gone. 6th base is now on the way. Trigger, his wing condition here is deny the 4th. Deny the 4th expansion as best he can. The Vikings, they push forward. They're being focused down. There's 2 Vikings left. 1 Viking remaining. Some rough losses there for ByuN. Zealots, they do catch reinforcements. More Zealots, they peel off towards a 3rd. The main army towards a 4th. And ByuN's just being pulled apart. Oof. Yeah, ByuN is being pulled apart. Zealots are still catching reinforcements. Meanwhile, SCVs are still going down to the 3rd. And ByuN, he cannot keep up. Oh my god, Nova goes off. Ghosts go down. And Trigger, he's done it. GG gets called. Trigger, he'll take the series 2-1. Trigger, he'll advance on into the playoffs. ByuN is out of the tournament. GG. Whew. Hi. GG, well played. Trigger, he does advance on into the playoffs. Congratulations. ByuN, he fought his heart out here, and again, we had some very impressive harass across the map. ByuN, he was almost able to take a lead and almost able to establish his 4th base, but we did see some brutal fights towards the end. Again, the harass was amazing for ByuN, but eventually Trigger, he got into the main base with that War Prism. He was able to get into the main base, War Pins were continuing, SBs were going down, ByuN's intention was being split, and we finally saw some juicy Novas, some juicy connections in those final fights when we saw Trigger panicking. Basically it was a panic Nova where he sent out like 5 Novas at once, but they connected, and Trigger, he barely won that fight. And what that meant was that Trigger could deny the 4th. He won that fight, which means he could maintain his presence in the center, deny the 4th base, and ensure that ByuN couldn't expand. He couldn't maintain his losses, he could not keep up. GG, well played. Congratulations to Trigger. Oh my god. Congratulations, GG, well played. My condolences to ByuN, as ByuN is out of the tournament, and we can quickly catch up on the bracket itself. We can catch up on the bracket. Here we go. Initially, ByuN beat Trigger. Again, it was a much shorter series, a much more aggressive series out of ByuN, but ByuN did take down Trigger 2-1. herO took down Rogue 2-0, and that led into the winners match, where herO took down ByuN 2-1 to advance on first into the playoffs. We then had Trigger having a spicy back and forth versus Rogue, where Trigger eliminated Rogue from the tournament, and of course, Trigger just eliminated ByuN from the tournament as well. So Rogue and ByuN are out, Trigger and herO are in. GG, well played. If you remember our predictions were that Rogue would be the first out, so that we were correct on that one. And I was torn between herO and ByuN or herO and Trigger. We were referencing Trigger's series versus Clem and how Trigger's been looking, and also Trigger's recent performances against Max. I want to say that Trigger's beaten Max like 4 times this week. It's crazy. 4 different series, I should say. But Trigger's been popping off. I wasn't too confident in Trigger's PVZ, but he did make his way past Rogue, and again, he had a very close series versus ByuN. This could have been a 2-0 as well. Remember, Trigger, he was up on 10,000 feet. With Trigger, he was maxed out, he had double the bases, but he overextended, and he was overly reliant on a low gas economy. Like Trigger, he just got too overconfident. He got too overconfident in game 2. That allowed ByuN to have a crazy comeback. Otherwise, again, I could have seen that being 2-0 in favor of Trigger. And here in game 3, we had that back and forth as well. Honestly, it was looking better for ByuN initially as he established his 3rd base, but ByuN never got his 4th. He never got his 4th base up and running. He tried, but he could not maintain it. GG, well played. And with that, congratulations. We have herO and Trigger advancing on. ByuN and Rogue are out. And we're going to be wrapping up our broadcast for the morning. For those that recall, our schedule here is going to be ready for you. Bam, there we go. So we have our schedule. Now, unfortunately, we weren't able to cast Thursday and Friday. Again, some things have been happening IRL, and I just haven't been available to cast. Unfortunately, you know, we've had some medical issues in regards to our bunnies, and they've been taking medication. They're going to be having an operation next week as well, so have been looking after them, haven't been available. But this weekend, I should be more free. So as you can see here, we have a double cast of Rongyi Cup. We just wrapped up with our morning cast this Saturday morning, and this Saturday evening, we're going to be back with Group C. Group C is going to be this evening, Group B is going to be tomorrow morning, and Group D is going to be tomorrow evening as well. So 4 broadcasts, 4 groups of Rongyi Cup. Half of them are going to be via replays, so Group A and Group B are from replays. Group C and Group D should be live. I'm a little bit tentative about whether or not I can cast this evening, but things are looking like we should be able to. I might be a little bit distracted, but should be able to cast this evening. Should be okay. So 7 pros kills in the fight, 32 kills. Oh, there you go. So it looks like potentially 32 kills in that Raven. No. The Raven was crazy. But yeah, GG, well played with that. Congratulations, and we'll be back this evening. It should be in around 8 hours. In around 8 hours time, we should be live with a Group C live cast. This time of Group C should be there. Otherwise, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and again, we have a full weekend of Rongyi Cup. Again, I do apologize for us not being able to cast much in January. Again, there's just been things happening IRL, we just have not been available, and the same should be said for the first part of February as well. But the second half of February and March should be better for us. Should be better. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for an enormous donation of $6.90. Thank you, baby. Thank you. We do appreciate it. I mean, you can see it here. I was referring to we've been unavailable. We've been a little bit unavailable just because there's been a lot of medical issues with our pet bunnies. There was an update of that. There's a video that we uploaded on our Discord. There's a video on Discord going into that a little bit more in depth. But vet bills have been insane. It's been like $4,000 spent on vet bills over the past like 3 weeks. It's been crazy. It's been crazy, but yeah, you know, they're our bunnies, part of the family. So again, they are recovering and everything should be okay. As I mentioned, there's going to be an operation next week, so hopefully everything's okay. They're able to recover. But that's also why I haven't been able to cast, because I've been looking after them, of course. So I just have had less time available to cast throughout the course of the past month. And yeah, hopefully everything goes well. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you guys later on tonight for some more Rongyi Cup. See you then. Bye. See you then. Ah.